Hi there, Robin. How are you?
Hi, Peter. Thank you so much for having me, and hello, everyone. Hi.
That's so been looking forward to this for a long time that we can have
Oh,
this
Peter, they said no sound.
no sound. Really?
Yeah,
Well, I wonder how come no sound.
they said no sound in the chat.
It is always the thing. Yeah, everything should be okay. Oh no. I wonder. I have no idea.
Okay,
I need to check this. I need to
they
check.
say it's okay now. It is working now, they said.
We can hear you now. I wonder what it is. I didn't do anything. All of a sudden, that might have been
It's
something else.
Rob's fault. Rob Track is in the chat. It's Rob's fault.
Oh, it's Rob's fault. Yeah,
Yes,
maybe
it's
it
always
is.
Rob Track's
Yeah,
fault.
you can always blame Rob Track for if there is some problems with the live stream. I wonder what that was because I didn't do anything. All of a sudden, it just came back. But all
Uh,
right. But hey, welcome, Robin, to the Wednesday
Thanks
live
so much for
stream.
having me.
Yeah, and I
Thank you.
I really appreciate you because it's 3 a.m. in Malaysia, so that's hats off. It's really
No worries. It's for the community, right? The
yeah,
reason why we are here, the reason why we are doing this is to engage the community and hopefully to inspire everyone to pick up the camera and shoot a bit more photographs. That's why
exact
we do this.
exactly that's exactly why we do it, and it's also fun to answer questions. And I don't know if the sound was on, but what we'll start, I will start asking a few questions about photography and how Robin started photography, and then we'll discuss a bit that, and then we'll open up the discussion for Q&A. So if you have any
Sounds
questions,
great.
please hold them for a minute and we will start. But there's one thing that I want to ask you: that how did you start photography? What was the thing that made you take images?
I I have not had a camera in my family. Uh, so the first camera that I picked up was when I was in university. I studied in Perth, Western Australia. That was in 2004 or 2005. I did civil engineering degree there. So it was my first time outside of the country, and it was my first semester in the University of Western Australia, UWA, an amazing university. I'm making a lot of new memories. I did not have a camera, but I did from time to time borrow a camera from a friend. And I realized that I'm missing out a lot. I saw dolphins for the first time in my life, and I couldn't capture that. My friend threw a surprise birthday party for me, and I have no photographs to show my parents or my friends back home. I've seen a lot of new things. Australia is such a beautiful place, and my biggest regret in that first semester was not having a camera. So when I went back during the summer holidays, when I went home to Malaysia, I told my parents I need a camera. By hook or by crook, I need a camera. So that's how the photography started. It started for me as a tool to document my life in university, to capture some nice memories, to be able to share these photographs with friends, to be able to show people what I've done so far away from home, and basically as something that I keep as a memory. And I think if you've seen my recent posting on Facebook, my personal Facebook account, you've seen some of my older photos when I have like super long hair,
Yeah.
flowing by the beach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are the fun. Those were the first few photographs that I've taken. They were not artistic. They were nothing. I didn't even think about photography. It's just taking photos to capture memories. That
Yeah, but
was
that's
that was how I
that's
started.
that's really a big thing about photography. That's what I like about photography because you can do it in so many ways. You can pixel peep, you can take memories, you can be a professional, you can be a keen hobbyist who really cares about the image quality and what the image looks like. But then you have huge amount of people that just want to grab memories, and I'm really glad that you've done that because those images are really valuable images, and I think that's very good.
Yes.
And when did
And then you
you?
know what? Just
Sorry,
sorry.
so go ahead.
Just to add to some very interesting fact, because I've dug out those old images recently, right? I backed up those photographs in CDs. Those CDs I can still read them. None of the CDs got corrupted.
Yeah.
I have I have hard disks, external hard disks that failed me. CDs, they are indestructible. It's amazing. And this is what I wanted to add. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's those. Actually, I have plenty of CDs too from the early days of digital photography, and I've gone back to those
Yeah,
images, and none of them have been corrupted so far. So they actually
amazing.
quite durable. Which back then they said that it's not gonna last, but they did. And when did you consider that you started to be a professional? When did you start earning money with photography? Was that some kind of
Uh,
decision, or just drifting that way, or what happened?
okay, so I think um, I need to start to talk about when I first picked up a DSLR. So I first, when I came back to Kuala Lumpur, I graduated, and then I came back to Kuala Lumpur. I started working as an engineer. Then I have some money now, right? So I don't have to beg for my parents for money to buy a camera anymore. So I have my own money. I worked, earned money. So I bought my first DSLR, which is an Olympus E520. It was in 2008. And after that, because I work in this really large engineering firm, it's actually Malaysia's largest geotechnical firm, where we have hundreds and hundreds of engineers working under the same roof. And at the same time, most of the engineers are of my age, or at least 5 years older than me. And I was in my 20s. So the most people working there were in their 20s or 30s, and people were about to get married. So in the span of, I think, from 2009 to 2011, I started to get exposed to wedding photography because I was known as an engineer who likes to take photographs. And a lot of these engineers, they prefer, because we were close. It was a very nice working environment. I was very close to my colleagues, and they liked my photographs. They said, "Hey, Robin, why don't I hire you as my wedding photographer?" So of course, in my first few jobs, I didn't know what I was doing. Right? I look at my photographs, thought they were all terrible photographs, and I told them in advance that I'm not a wedding photographer. I'm just doing this for fun. I'm not going to charge you anything because I know my photographs will be crap. But hey, I'll just go there and then just try. After I did a few jobs, I realized that hey, I can do this, right? So I think after I did 4 or 5 weddings, then I have like a very small portfolio, and so I started to bring this like small portfolio to show like potential clients. And then because I also blog, I have an online blog. It wasn't really a photography blog yet. So that blog slowly shifted to photography blog as I share more and more about Olympus, about what I do every week, my shutter therapy sessions. And it also somehow managed to bring people to look at my photography, and people email me, contact me. And that's how it started as a freelance basis in my early years, where I started to charge very small amount of money, then I slowly climbed my way up. And then over many, 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 many years, I think then I left the engineering job in 2013. I joined Olympus Malaysia. And when I joined Olympus Malaysia, I actually slowed down in my photography jobs for 4 years because
Yeah,
I was quite
yeah.
committed to Olympus.
Sorry,
And then
one question. What did you do at Olympus Malaysia? What was your job?
I was their product specialist.
Oh, okay.
Product specialist.
Yeah.
Then after I left Olympus Malaysia, that was in 2017. That was when I truly consider myself a full-time photographer.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, because
Yes.
I remember the first time your name came across to me when I first realized that who you actually were. We were sitting in a bus in Spain when the EM1 Mark II was launched, and I was
Oh.
browsing my phone and came across your blog where you said that you could make a 5-second handheld shot. And I was looking at it. I think we were coming back, yeah, because it was only launched and you had your. And I was looking at it, and then there's somebody guy sitting next to me and said, "Who the heck is this guy? He thinks that he can make 5-second images." And I was like, then somebody said, "Hey, come on! He's been working with Olympus. He knows his stuff." And then I started looking at your blog and realized that yeah. But the first impression was that, come on, bluffing.
To be fair, Peter, to be fair, when someone told me during we had internal trainings, right, briefings on new products. When someone told me that the 5-axis mesh stabilization is so great, it's even better than EM1, I was like, nah, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. So I brought the camera and the lens out for just a test run, right?
Yeah.
And I tried, and the first time I saw it, I was like, what? 2 seconds. Okay, I kept going to 5 seconds. Like, I still couldn't believe it. And then I went back another time and did it. It took me a while to finally admit it. Okay, it is that good.
Yeah, it is. I was actually today in the afternoon. I was in Jimmy Cheng's Red 35 channels live, and he had this competition about how long can you do handheld shots, and there was some guy sent a picture with the 15-second exposure. And he showed the image online, and it was sharp. Let's say the sharp enough. And what I usually call so-called social media sharp, which means that if you post it on Facebook or Instagram, nobody knows if there is a slight unsharpness. So,
true,
so it
that's
was
very true.
That's mind-blowing, anyways. So, and now you consider that you've been like 3 years a professional, right?
Yes. Yeah. Since 2017.
Yeah.
Correct.
How did you find the wedding photography? Do you still do weddings?
I try during my early years. Everything is wedding. When I started, everything was wedding, and then because I was a freelance photographer, I wasn't a full-time wedding photographer. I still had a job as a civil engineer.
Oh, okay, yes.
And then when I was working for Olympus, I did take a few jobs, but it's just very small jobs. I did a few weddings there and here, but as I progressed to become a full-time photographer, I took less and less wedding jobs. I think last year I had only 5 wedding jobs for the entire 2019. So, right. And the year before, I think I had like three jobs.
Oh, okay,
so last year I had 5 jobs. So I was actually surprised I have more jobs, more wedding jobs. So wedding job is good money. If the job comes, I will definitely take it. But I don't actively seek it. I don't go out and hunt for it. The main reason was because it's extremely tiring for me. It's a full day job, and after that full day shoot, like let's say you spend a whole Saturday shooting the wedding, on Sunday I just don't want to see the camera anymore. I don't even want to wake up. I just want to lie on the bed, not do anything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you have thousands and thousands of photographs to go through?
I know.
Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy shooting weddings. I enjoy those lovely moments. But if you are a full-time wedding photographer, I think you can understand where I'm coming from. Like if you have just 1 or 2 jobs every week, you burn out really fast.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not something I want to do all the time.
I remember because here in Finland, most of the weddings are during summer. So I remember when I had a studio, I was every weekend I had a shoot. Sometimes like 3 couples in portraits, and then other weekends were just full day photo shoots, and that was really tiring. I did have an assistant with me, so we had 2 shooters at the time, and they also did some of the image editing, so it wasn't that bad. But anyway, I kind of got tired of that, and now I don't have a studio anymore because it became a very expensive warehouse. So I got to get rid of it.
That's true.
And since we have 3 kids and they all move out, so we have plenty of room at home. So now I can have an office at home. So in that, I don't want to pay for an expensive warehouse anymore, so that's why I can work from home, which is really nice. So for me, being at home during this time is not that big of a deal because I've been working from home for many years.
Nice.
So in that sense, while we were working with Olympus Malaysia, then there were a lot of new cameras and new systems came. How excited were you when the OMD digital version came, or the OM digital came?
So I joined Olympus Malaysia at a very interesting time. I joined them in September 2013, just in time for the launch of the EM1, the first.
Yeah, that's
EM1.
true. Yeah, that was later. Yeah, true.
So I remember I joined the company and I had to immediately start giving speeches, right? Talk about the products to
Okay, yeah.
people. And I think I did a terrible job in my first few talks. But it was just very exciting, as you mentioned to me, because first, I really love Olympus. I loved the product before I joined the company. I loved the product before I'm so deeply involved with Olympus. I I genuinely loved Olympus as a company, as a brand. I used their photography products since 2008, and I have been writing and blogging about them all this time. So I've accumulated a pile of knowledge on using Olympus products, and I'm not. I don't want to sound too arrogant, but at that time when I joined the company, I knew the Olympus product better than anyone else in the company. That was why I was hired.
Yeah, that's
Not
well.
just because
You probably did. You probably did too.
not just because I was a photographer using Olympus, but because I really know the products.
Yeah.
I know the settings. I know the camera so well
Yeah.
that I was the right person to do the job. So that was why I was hired.
Okay. Yes.
And it was so exciting because EM1 to me is the game changer for Olympus, right? EM5 was the revolutionary camera, and then the EM1 was like the refinement of what the EM5 should be. It's designed for professional photographers, and it was also the first camera that really convinced myself to switch to the mirrorless, not the EM5 but the EM1.
Yeah.
So yeah, and being able to work closely with the company, this product, it was, to me, that was, some may say it's a dream come true.
Yeah, probably was, and I can agree because my first Olympus, when I switched from a different brand from DSLR, it was the EM1. I remember
Yeah.
getting all my stuff to the store and got a couple of those and started using it day one. I had EM5 that Olympus Finland borrowed me, that I used that, and I loved that camera. It was marvelous, and I remember saying that this is something totally new, and this is I remember saying that this is the best camera that I ever used. And I didn't mean that necessarily everything was the best, but the whole feeling with smaller camera and the image quality and all the features was very interesting. It was very interesting. And I have to thank Jack Bisson for a generous $20 super chat. Thumbs up for that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jack.
Did you decide, I don't know if this is, you don't have to answer, but did you decide to go solo and start to be a photographer, or were there something else?
I think the reason why I decided to become a photographer is not something that happens straight away. It's a slow progression. It has something to do with my work at Olympus as well. And a lot of people think that it's my dream job. I've said that part of it is true, but it is also still a job. I have a boss I have to answer to. I have to be in the office every day, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 5. And most of the time, our work hours stretch beyond 5. Being a Malaysian, we don't get to go home at 5.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to work weekends as well. Saturdays and Sundays are where the workshops, the touch and try events, the product launches, the photo walks, or even the photo exhibitions, or anything that Olympus is investing or collaborating in. I have to be there to support or to talk to the photographers, or to give training, or even I have to conduct my own photography workshops to some of the customers.
Okay, yeah.
So I've been working 6-7 days a week for many years, and that leaves me very little time for my own photography. And as a photographer, I need to shoot. I need time with the camera. And I even told this problem with my boss back then. I said, yes, it's my responsibility to teach people how to use the camera. It's my responsibility to help promote Olympus. But at the same time, I need to do something to improve myself. I need to train myself. I need to go to workshops on my own. I need to attend workshops. If Peter is having a workshop in Malaysia, I will attend it, right? and I would definitely want to be inspired. I need to go out and shoot, because if I don't shoot, then my skills will get rusty. And photography is like sports, right? You need to keep keep your muscles strong. You need to keep your coordination. You have to have fast reflex. If you don't use it a lot, if I keep working in the office, if I just work and work and work, if I don't shoot, then my skills will be gone. So, and because I work so much, I don't shoot enough. At one point I was very unhappy. Just because of that. Yeah. So then I asked myself, like, is this what I want to do? I mean, I'm happy working for Olympus. They've given me a lot of opportunities. I've learned so much. I've grown so much, not just as a photographer, but knowing how the industry works in overall. And just so much that I've gained during my time at Olympus. But then I have to ask myself, what do I want with my life? I want to shoot. It's as simple as that. Whether it's a commercial shoot to earn money or just go out on the street and just do a 1-hour street photography session. If I can do that at least once or twice a week, I'll be happy. But I couldn't. There was a time where I've been playing with the camera every day, but not for myself. I haven't been shooting for myself for at least 3 months. So I was very unhappy. That's why I decided to in the end, just try to explore life as a photographer and see where it takes me.
Yeah, that's a good reason, and that I think there was some really wise words about practicing photography. If you need to practice the craft, it's not about learning the camera, but it's about learning to see. And if you don't look around, if you only, if you never photograph, then you lose the eye, and that's always the problem if you don't do. So how did the shadow therapy was it called? Yeah. How did that start? Because I think that's a marvelous concept, and I love the branding of the whole thing, and it's brilliant. I think the idea, because that's exactly what it is when you need to shoot. It's because that's how I feel when I go out and walk with my camera, just looking around and taking images. Even though I don't get any good images, I feel really happy. It's not about the images, it's about the whole process. But of course, the good images are a bonus on that. And if you're feeling good, you usually get those bonuses. But how did
you have successfully described?
Oh, I did. Sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So in 2009, 1 year after I came back from Perth, I was already working in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, as an engineer. My father passed away. So my dad passed away. He's had heart complications. It's actually, the doctors say it's a miracle that he has lived that long. So he passed away peacefully. Everything went fine. But I went through a stage of I felt really miserable. I would say that I went through depression. At one point of time, I was still in my hometown, and I had a friend who came to me and said, "Hey, Robin, why don't we just go out? Just bring a camera with you and just forget everything. Just take photos." So I thankfully I listened to that friend's advice. I went out on the street. No objective, nothing in mind. We didn't plan anything. We just go out, just randomly take any photos. And I find that it really helped. It helped me that in that 1 hour that I was out, I didn't think about all the problems or all the worries or the grief or the sadness that I was feeling. I wouldn't say that it was gone. I knew it was there, but I was preoccupied in something else. I was focusing on making images, and it allowed me to process my grief better. And I felt so much better after that session because I was walking, I was sweating. Malaysia is very hot, right?
Yes, yeah,
really
that's
hot.
what I've heard. That's
sweat.
what I've heard.
So it helps in that way. It's like you're doing some exercise. So after that, then I was writing my blog article. So one of the things I did consistently for almost every week, or sometimes multiple times a week, is to share my photography adventures, good or bad, or if I have some good photos or bad photos. So I'll just share everything in the process. And I thought that it felt like a therapy. Then I thought, hey, the word came. Retail therapy, like how people go shopping crazy and then buy a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So retail therapy. So I used that phrase. I changed it a little bit. I just replace the word retail with shutter.
Yeah.
So it becomes shutter therapy. And it started and somehow it got picked up. Some very, very famous photographers used that phrase. The one that I can remember was Kurt Tuck.
Okay.
From
cool.
Visual Science Lab, based in Texas. Amazing photographer that I follow as well. He has written shutter therapy a few times in his blog, so I was very, very happy to see that happen.
It is. It's a great word, and I think you have a very good point there, because there is so-called I don't know what the English word for it is, but there is some kind of a therapy method that one Finnish photographer, it's more of like the artistic side of photography, has made this with younger girls, that they kind of like made images of themselves how they want others to see them. And that's really, it's called The Most Wonderful Girl in the World. Is a book. It's a beautiful book of those pictures, and that's kind of something, in a way, something, but different, of course. But,
interesting.
But that is something, and I think photography can be really therapy in a way, and that's right now the situation in many places are a bit horrifying, because people cannot do that. You cannot go out and shoot, just wander around. Okay, I don't know if could you take a camera with you now over there when you go grocery shopping and take some images, or would that, you cannot do that? That's harsh. That's harsh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the reality.
Well, but okay, safety first, of course, and that's sure. Also important, because
we do what we have to do.
Yeah, exactly. But I will hope that this situation will go.
Likewise.
Go over, and we can go back to normal.
Yes, I miss shutter therapy.
Yeah, you can. But have you had? You did some product photography with your superheroes. Have you done anything similar? Can you do anything? Can you do shutter therapy at home? Do you have any suggestions?
Well, I do have quite a nice view from my balcony, and it's overlooking the Kuala Lumpur Twin Towers.
Oh, really?
The KLCC cool. Twin Towers. Though I do need quite a zoom lens. I need a zoom lens to get a good view, because it's quite far away. So I do get nice sunrise and sunset views. So it's not too bad.
Okay, yeah.
It's not like I'm stuck with somewhere that's like there's nothing to see. So I can shoot some nice little bit of sunrise and sunset. And from time to time we had the super moon, so I got the shots of moon as well. So cool. It's not too bad. And it also helps for us to participate in other people's challenges. If you guys have not seen, or if you have not looked at any of Peter's recent videos, do check out the toilet paper challenge, toilet paper photography challenge. And I don't think it's too late to participate.
No, it's not too late. No, it's not too late at all.
And then put the right hashtag toilet paper photography challenge, and maybe tag Peter as well. Yeah, I participated in that. I thought it was quite fun.
That's why I did it, because I thought that toilet paper was, people were hoarding them, and to be honest, I was a bit worried that if people are misunderstanding my thing, but I only think I got only one bad comment about it, and everything else
I think photographers are smart people.
Oh, they are. They are really smart.
Yeah.
They're really smart. Now there is Richie Rich that says that I stole shutter therapy from Robin Wong.
Steal away.
In the comment, I think we can all use that, but always remember it was Robin who came up with that. So you have. I'm glad that you have had some possibilities to make images, because if I understood correctly, that's very important for you, like many others too. But what about if we take a look at a few questions? There has already been, but I haven't been really looking at those questions that much. Let's see if we have any.
No problem.
Any questions? Let's go. I will scroll back a bit. Have you? There's one thing about, somebody says that it loves his over 7.5 lens. Have you tried other lenses? How much than M.Zuiko and Olympus lenses? Have you any experience with other lenses?
Okay, this is just me, so I hope nobody is taking offense, right? This is just my personal preferences and the way that I work with my cameras and lenses. For my type of photography, I need to deal with things that move. So I'm doing weddings, events, I shoot people, so everything moves. Even for my personal shoots, my shuttle therapy sessions, I do street photography. People move. I need to capture moments, right? So to me, autofocus is extremely important. I only own and I only purchase autofocus lenses. I have both. I have owned Olympus, Panasonic, and Sigma lenses, all autofocus lenses.
Okay.
I have no manual focus lens, so I just want to make that clear. So for the 7.5 fisheye, was it the fisheye lens?
Yeah, it was a Laowa fisheye. Yeah.
I have tried that before. I don't like it, and my reason again is quite clear because I need to use manual focus.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, of course. Oh, thanks. That was a good answer. And then Rob Treg, he says here that Robin Wong is the happiest photographer on earth thanks to his shadow therapy. And people, can you imagine that he's been on fire, very full of energy, and it's 3 a.m. in the morning in Malaysia. So that's remarkable. That if I was in alive at 3 a.m., I wouldn't, I couldn't handle that. So
the secret is coffee.
Oh,
lots of coffee.
Overpriced coffee, is it?
Unfortunately, now it's the cheap coffee. I can't get overpriced coffee.
Okay. That's good. That's good because overpriced is never good. That's never good. Let's see if there are any. Yeah, this is interesting. Best Shot Catalin is asking any news about the new 100 to 400 millimeter lens.
100 to 400.
Yeah, I think they.
Lens there.
Yeah, I think Olympus said that they are planning on releasing one of these lenses in the near future.
Yes.
But I haven't heard.
It is in the roadmap.
Yeah, it's in the roadmap.
The lens that we have all heard is the 150 to 400 Pro.
Yeah, that's
the one that is most likely to be released sooner than everything else.
Yeah, I think
hopefully.
the last. I don't think it was a rumor. I think it was a fact that it will be in August. That will be an interesting lens, but we'll see if the coronavirus thing is affecting that at all. I don't know, but that's going to be interesting.
To be honest, Peter, like when the lens comes out, 150 to 400, I really don't know what to shoot.
Oh yeah, me too. I don't really need it, but it's an interesting lens. And I definitely want to test it because it's an interesting lens,
yes.
and I know that the bird photographers are drooling and they're waiting.
Oh, yeah.
They just
yes.
they just want it. And yeah, Rich is right. This is it's be this fall. The 150 to 400 is going to be this fall. So
yeah, hopefully yes. And let's see. This is an interesting one about being a visionary. John Dawson is asking, as visionaries, does Olympus look to you for input on what you are hearing, seeing through your experiences with others? Can you start? Sure. So I have direct contact to Olympus Malaysia. Not just because I'm an Olympus visionary, because I worked for them before, right? So I know the people there directly. I have the contacts. So I have been giving them tons of feedback before I work for them. When I work for them, I give like crazy amount of feedback. I just dump all the things that I personally think about the camera system, how it can be improved. I collected information from the public, people that I meet, photographers that I work with. Part of my job as a product specialist is to meet other photographers, introduce Olympus cameras to them, get them to try our cameras, and hopefully they like our camera and they'll buy our camera, right? So they also have feedback that about the camera, like maybe why they don't like it, or why it's not enough to switch them over to Olympus. So I have a huge database of information that I've been giving back to Olympus. I don't think it is the Olympus Visionaries' job to collect this feedback, but we do have our connections or people that we liaise with in Olympus. So if I receive a lot of, I get feedback every day from YouTube comments, from emails, from comments. I typically compile them, and then I'll email directly to the person in charge. That's the best that I can do. whatever happens to the information, whether someone is looking at them or whether it went into the junk folder or the spam, I don't know. The best I can do is just forward the information that I have to the contact that I'm currently active with.
Yeah, I have about the same relationship with Olympus Finland. I've been contacting them every week on different matters, and I do get a lot of feedback that why this is like this, and I, forward them every time I get something, and tell them what I think, and I also say things that I don't like because that's the most important thing, and of course things that I like, and the reason I think many of the Olympus Visionaries ambassadors and the educators are because the people that work for Olympus, they are mostly marketing people, and they have the marketing way of saying things, and we are kind of like in some way, I would say the word of reason sometimes, because because I cannot speak the market language at all.
We are photographers.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Then there was one interesting question about Roman K. He asked, what does your perfect street camera look like? Any new features which are not yet in Olympus cameras?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to answer this in a very interesting way, but it's also not a perfect answer. The ideal street photography camera would be something like a Panasonic LX100, right? Micro Four Thirds sensor, a bright zoom lens with a built-in electronic viewfinder. However, I bought the Panasonic LX100. I wanted to love it. I've written a blog article, a very long blog article on it. But that camera just has so many things wrong about it. The autofocus was unreliable. I cannot get sharp images. A lot of things just, the color is terrible. The RAW file is, I don't know, there's something wrong with the RAW file. And it's just, I wanted so badly to love that camera. It just on paper it's a perfect camera for me to do street photography, but it just isn't. I like that it has micro four thirds sensors, so that's better resolution, dynamic range, high ISO. I like that it has a zoom lens, which is very bright. I can still do a little bit of shallow depth of field. I can blur my background for my portraits. It is zoom lens. I don't have to keep switching lenses. But that camera just has so many issues. I don't know if they didn't have those issues, that would have been the camera I used for my street photography. I don't care whether it's Panasonic or Olympus. If they just fix the problems, I would have used that camera. Yeah. I hope that answers Roman's question.
Yeah, that was a thorough answer, I think. To be honest, I don't really have... The only thing probably is that for street photography, I really do like the Pen F. And the biggest thing is that the viewfinder is right in the corner. Then you have the camera like this, and you can see what's going on. Because now it's like this. It's kind of blocking the view in a way. And if you photograph this way, then you can't see a thing. And that's why I think the Pen F is perfect for that.
It's better.
But then it doesn't have that good. The autofocus is old technology, and I hope that they would make the Pen F Mark II with the
I hope so too.
With the autofocus from the newest Olympus cameras. That would be totally cool.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Then there is an interesting question with Ace Castillo is asking, when you approach a specific project, how do you go about your creative process? This is a tough question. Do you have any?
I think for a project, first of all, you have to define what you want to do in a project. So it's your project statement or objective, and this is like the artist statement, right? Say something as simple as, say for example, I want to document the historical buildings in Kuala Lumpur or the old shops in Kuala Lumpur. This is something I can think of. I didn't do this project. I'm just giving an example. So then you have to do a bit of research. Where are these buildings? What are the locations? Do you have access to the buildings? How do you get this access or permission? Do you have the people that you can interview to find out more about the buildings? And after you have an understanding of what you want to shoot. Remember, it's not always how, it's what you want to shoot. After you have the background understanding of the project itself, then you have to start to put limitations. You cannot do everything. If you try to do everything, you will fail. Then you start to just attack one or two particular parts of that project. For example, the exteriors of these buildings. Then you try to shoot that particular exterior part of the building. Or if you want to talk about the interior of the building, if you can get inside, that's even better. Then you can talk about the interiors of this building. So your project will be about the interiors of these old buildings in Kuala Lumpur. So to me, the creative process, you need to do a lot of research. Try to make sure that no one else has done it, because if someone has done a project, why do you want to do it? If other photographers find out, they just think that you copy their project, right? Originality, make sure that you've done enough research. Spend time talking to people, interview people, get them in audio recording, get their permission. Permission is very important. Write a short narrative, write a short essay, and then you have the photographs will come together nicely. The photography part will take, the creative process will take, it can be as fast as few days to a few weeks, or it might even take a few months depending on the scope. Again, you are the one to define how many buildings you want to take. It can be just 2 or 3 buildings, but it can be a project of 10, 20 buildings. So it depends on your scope. You have to define a scope that you can achieve. And then another process, creative process that I highly, highly recommend is get another photographer to curate your photograph. Get someone that you admire. Like, for example, if Peter is within reach, if I have a project, I would gladly to get Peter to come in and give me some advice on my project. It's good to have, it's not because Peter is better than me, which he is, all right? He's an amazing photographer.
No.
It's just good to get a fresh perspective on your project.
That's important.
Who
that's
may not be necessarily, like if I take my photo, I love my photo because I took it. I don't say bad things about my photo. It takes someone else who is not emotionally attached to the photo to be honest and tell you, no, this photo does not work. It does not fit into this project. Yeah. So that's a very important creative process as well, curation. So just sorry, I know I'm rambling on for too long.
No,
but just to summarize,
this is a beautiful answer, and I agree 100% on that. And then there is also the question of why, also, which probably you covered. You just didn't say the word why, but I think that's also an important thing, that you should kind of think that who is the people that you want to show these images, who wants to see this, and why is it important? Audience. So kind of like have a imaginary client in a way, and I think that helps too as a project. And I hope, Ace, that was a brilliant answer, and it will be recorded into YouTube forever. So that was so great. And then there's an interesting question about your underexposure, overexposed video that you could pull up +4 from the overexposed sky. Is that really possible?
I think, the sky itself, at the base, the sky itself, right? If you see my base exposure, are exposed to the sky, meaning that the photograph itself is already slightly underexposed. If you look at the first photograph that I did, the trees, the buildings, everything is underexposed because the first exposure that I start with 0, I was protecting the sky. So you see the blue colors is perfect. The clouds, the details are there. Then I slowly overexpose 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops, and 4 stops. Then I realized that the hard limit was at 4 stops. Now, if you did not expose to the sky, if you start from, let's say, just a normal balanced image, right? Because if you want to take a balanced image, you just don't see the sky. You also want to see the trees in the foreground. You want to see the buildings. If you expose everything in a very balanced way, right? It's not too much on the sky, not too much in the dark area. Everything is just balanced. Then perhaps it's about 3 stops. You're looking at 3 stops. But because I exposed to the sky just to protect the highlights, I can recover about 4 stops. Yes, I proved that in my video. So.
Yeah, you did. You did. That was a beautiful answer. Very good. Thank you. Let's see, what else do we have?
thanks, guys, for the questions.
Yeah, they're
Keep them
very, very
coming.
good
We'll
questions.
try.
Very good
We
questions,
will try our best to get to
and we
them.
have 165 online. This is
Woohoo!
very good, very good. Thank you for everybody for being here. I think this is. I'm not sure if this is a record I've ever had. I think we had the same amount with Maddie and Rob,
Sure.
but it's about. Let's see if there are any questions. Did I see? Just a minute.
Sure, no problem. I need a drink of water.
Yeah, just go ahead and I'll pick a question. This is an interesting. Roy Jenkins Packer is asking, as visionaries, who do you follow on YouTube for your photography and learning?
I follow Peter and Maddie.
And I follow.
But seriously.
I follow, Robin and Maddie. But do you have any others that are outside, like let's say the secret society?
I don't necessarily follow YouTube for photography inspiration, but there are other photographers that I really follow. The photographer that really inspired me and the photographer that I really hope to meet one day is Jay Dickman. He's also an Olympus visionary, National Geographic. I've read his book. It's a photography for beginners. It's a book that he did with Olympus DSLR. Amazing book. I learned a lot from that book. I also love one of the photographers that I like. I really admire is Kurt Tuck. I've mentioned this before. Visual Science Lab. What I really like about Kurt Tuck is that not just he's a great photographer, he's an amazing portrait photographer, but he will break down the process of his portrait shoot. I'll give you one example. He'll invite someone, a stranger, for a portrait session, and he'll bring the stranger into his studio. He'll spend 2 hours talking to that stranger just to break the ice, spend 1 hour taking the portrait shot of that stranger, and then end of the session. And he's not happy with the photo because there's no connection. He will re-invite that stranger back to the studio. And this time it's not a stranger, it's already a friend. Then because they have that connection, then he gets the photograph. I mean, wow! To me, I admire photographers who share their passion and who share their work process and how they get the shots.
Oh yeah,
and to me that's very important.
That is really good. And for me, I would say that for me, YouTube is also more or less for tutorials. If I need something with editing in Premiere Pro, maybe watch some other softwares and like this Ecamm software that I'm using for live stream. I checked out a few channels and then of course one photographer that I watch every now and then is Thomas Heaton with his landscape. I do very little landscape photography, but I kind of like his style. He's an easygoing and I think he's
amazing YouTuber as well.
And I also admire his style of making those videos because I know that it's not easy to make a video, walk around and set your camera kilometers that way, come back and walk again and then still be able to make those gorgeous landscape images and talk to the videos. It's just something that I cannot do that much. I would love to do that, and maybe I will start practicing that. Lose all my subscribers while practicing, but then because nobody wants to watch that. That was a good question. Good question, and I will ask Robin to write me those names, and I could put those names in the description of this video. So if people want to go and watch those and check out those guys, then you can find the names there after the stream is over. Let's see. Did you and Robin, if you find any question that you want to ask, just go ahead because I'm
no problem.
If you have any questions, let's see. Interested in. Okay, then there's about the Sigma lenses. Momchil Yoranov is asking about the Sigma 1.4 primes, and he's especially interested in a 56mm. And I've actually tried. I think it was the 16mm. Last time I said wrong. I thought it was 30, but I think I tested the 16mm I think it was almost a year ago, because I remember the video we were at. Actually, Maddie Sulanto was filming and helping me film it. And it was the first spring day in Helsinki, and I was really happy and actually smiled on my video, which I don't usually do. That's why I remember that video. And yeah, it is those. I would say that those Sigma 1.4 lenses, they were really good lenses, but they don't have the same grade of weather sealing. So if that's something you need, but otherwise, those I have to say, I have to admit, but don't tell Olympus that I said that those are really good lenses.
My only complaint with the Sigma lenses, I'm allowed to give complaints, right? My only complaint is that because they were designed for both Sony APS-C, I think.
Yeah, it's actually APS-C lens.
As well as Olympus, so it's unnecessarily larger and heavier.
That's true.
It was designed for micro four thirds. It could have been maybe 20-30% smaller.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that would have been perfect.
Yeah, that's what they actually say, that it's exactly the same lens that they make for Sony. It's just a different mount. That's what they say, I think. But
and you know, they can make it that cheap already, right? Because the pricing is quite low. Imagine if they make it even smaller, it can be even cheaper. That would be even better for us.
Could be. Now let's see. Jay Rai says that you explained the question on project really well, so I have to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta put that.
No problem.
Maybe I'll put that on. It continues, but okay. Let's see. There is some question about. Let's put this one. I'm interested in wildlife photography and nature in general. So is the 90 to 250 2.8 good for birds in flight? I'm not really sure what lens. Is that a 4/3 lens maybe? That's Manos Hulk. Do you know which lens this is?
No, I don't think so. It might have been the older.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Zuiko. Okay, the problem with Zuiko lenses are DSLR lenses, right? So they're designed to work optimally with the DSLR. Now, moving on, all the micro four thirds lenses are so much faster than what was originally the Zuiko lenses. And using the older lenses on newer cameras, you will definitely get a much slower autofocus.
Yeah.
Much slower.
Yeah, that's the biggest obstacle on those lenses for birds.
It's not because those lenses were bad, but because those lenses were never fast to begin with. It was already that slow back then.
Yeah.
It's just back then that wasn't considered slow compared to now.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right.
And those are different lenses. So it's those lenses are really good quality, but maybe not for birds in flight.
Not for autofocus.
Yeah, the autofocus isn't fast enough, and that's maybe the problem. Let's see. Sorry for John. Let's see what questions. Okay, this one was before I saw, but can you explain why shutter count is important when you can shoot in silent mode? Because in theory it doesn't. If you have your camera all the time in silent mode, you probably wouldn't wear your shutter, right? In theory, I don't know if that's in real life, but there are some limitations with silent shutter, like the rolling shutter and stuff like that. But go ahead. Or if you have
I wouldn't
anything
recommend
to add.
using silent shutter. There are 3 reasons where I don't recommend people using silent shutter. One, as Peter has mentioned, rolling shutter or the jello effect. And depends on what you're shooting. If you're shooting still life or things that don't they stay perfectly still, then it's okay. Go for silent shutter. But if you're like me, 99% of my subjects moves. Like everything moves. It's like the things I shoot, they don't stay very still. And a lot of them, they're moving very fast. So it's best that I use mechanical shutter, or at least first curtain, anti-shock 0 second, right? So that's the first reason. Second reason, if you shoot at high ISO, especially ISO 6400 and higher, the noise characteristics of the silent shutter or the electronic shutter is different. You'll have a different color shift. It's a little bit more magenta or green, I can't remember. and the noise profile is a little bit more difficult to correct in post-processing in comparison to mechanical shutter. And actually, they are friends, but I go to the third one. And the third reason is flash. Your flash sync limit is capped. I think in EM1 Mark II, EM1 Mark III, EM5 Mark III is 1/60th of a second flash sync limit. Everything else, I think even the EM5 Mark II or others is 1/20th. I mean, if you have 1/20th sync limit with a flash, it really limits you to do a lot of things. So yeah, you can't do much. Like, all right, so and the fourth reason is if you're dealing with flickering light, inconsistent light. So if you use silent shutter, there's much higher chance of bending. You see those lines, those ugly lines they capture. Yeah, if you shoot in artificial light, if you use silent shutter, you have higher chance of bending. So I'm not saying don't use silent shutter. Use it if you need it. If you absolutely need it to be silent, there are some situations that if you're shooting a golf tournament, if someone hears your shutter sound, you're out.
Yeah.
No joke. Right? You're just immediately out. So in that case, use silent shutter. Don't care about everything else. Just use it, right? Yeah. But for other cases, Olympus shutters are really, really silent. Do you guys realize that? It's so silent. I'll just use the normal shutter. If it dies, it dies. Yeah. It means that you have used your camera well.
That's true.
Don't worry. Don't think about the shutter. Just use it. I have been shooting for so many years. I've never killed my shutter. My EM1, my EM5, my EM1 Mark II. Okay, hopefully they don't die during this lockdown. But
maybe
I have not killed anything.
Maybe that happens when you said that, but then, and if you're afraid of camera shake because of the shutter, then there's the anti-shock mode, which is a lot better. If that is the reason that you want to use the silent shutter. But it has actually saved me a couple of times when I've been shooting people in podcast studios. I could go in and make images, and the first time I went there, they were looking at me that, hey, you have a camera, you can't make any sounds. Then I just, well, I've been taking pictures already, nobody hear anything, and then I was click, 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 going like this, and then it was all right because you could get a lot better pictures with when people actually are talking, than just taking portraits before the show. So it was actually very good.
Yeah, I remember like I was shooting this event. It was the Turkish National Day, and we have the Turkish ambassador, and then we have some Malaysian ministers, all the VIPs in a hotel room, like a private room, just a few people. And I was granted access because I was the official photographer. It was so silent that like my shoes on carpet is actually very loud. That's when you need silent shutter.
Yeah.
It's definitely
exactly
yes.
Silent shutter. Let's see. Yeah, he was talking about the 90 to 250 was the Zuiko lens. We were right. And then there is a polarized asks that from you, Robin. Can you explain how you handheld your camera to take these handheld long exposures? Do you use self timer?
No, actually. Hand hold your camera as comfortable as you can. I can't teach you how I hold my camera because what works for me may not work for you. I generally hold the camera by the lens. Camera is a bit too far away, but never mind. Yeah. I hold it by the lens. I can stabilize it from here. Yeah. Hold it by the lens and just stabilize it with your right hand, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
the weight is on this hand. And this is only for
just to stabilize it.
Yeah, just to keep
it
straight.
But this works for me. I can't say that if you do this, you'll be able to do 5 seconds exposure or anything. It also helps that if you can brace yourself on something, because to me, when I shoot more than 5 seconds, right, I think about 2 or 3 seconds is fine. But if I shoot more than 5 seconds, my hand is no longer the problem. My legs starts to shake.
Yeah, and
my whole body is shaking.
Exactly.
It's not the hand anymore.
And then it's also if you start breathing, you go like this.
Yes,
That doesn't
yes,
work.
your
You need
whole
to.
body moves.
Yeah, you need to hold
feel
your
like
breath. Actually, don't breathe during the
it's
exposure.
not the hands. Your hands are not the problem anymore. Yeah, and don't drink too much coffee. And that helps.
That's true. That's true. Let's see. And this is always a question. I don't know if you can answer this. That somebody's saying that the Olympus 75 millimeters is said to be a Sigma design. This is I don't know what the facts are, but this comes very often when we talk about 75, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was, because it has a bit of a different character than the other lenses.
What I can tell you was that if you look at okay, I'm going to go off topic a little bit and I'll come back to the 75. If you go back to the DSLR days in Olympus, the E system, there's a lens 75-300, right? 75, the original. No, it's not 75. It's 70-300.
Okay.
70-300, and it's a fantastic lens. Sigma has a lens as well. Sigma has a 70-300, but it's not for Olympus. I think it's for APS-C. And if you look at the lens diagram, the lens construction is, I will say, it's exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
So it's not so hard to believe that, but then it doesn't mean that Sigma made the lens. It could be Olympus made the lens, Sigma made the lens. We don't know. I'm just, from my observation, is that both lenses are exactly the same. So if that's true, maybe Olympus designed it, maybe Sigma made it, like Olympus made the design and Sigma manufactured it. I don't know. Coming back to the 75 1.8, yes, I have heard the rumors flying around the 75 is made by Sigma, but I have no way of verifying it. As you know, I used to work in Olympus Malaysia, which is a very, very small company in Malaysia, a very small country, which is quite far away from all the HQ. So we don't get such interesting information.
Yeah.
But to me personally, as a photographer, I don't care. I just want a lens that's sharp, that gives me the results, that gets me wonderful images. If that lens gets the results that I seek, if it's Sigma, I will buy the Sigma lens. I don't care. I'll just get the lens.
That's true. That's exactly exactly. Let's see if we have some more questions. Somebody is asking about the 25 millimeter lens. Ole Osheim is asking, what is the best 25 millimeter lens for Micro Four Thirds, not including the Pro version? Well, I would.
Not including.
I would definitely say that then it's the M.Zuiko 25 f1.8. That's a good lens.
Yeah, that's my favorite lens.
Is it your favorite lens? Yeah, I was going to ask that but go ahead now. You can tell me and tell everybody, because that was one question I was going to ask.
Yeah, I've been talking too long. I need to like cut down my stories.
No. I love your stories, and I bet because we have 187 online now, which is a huge number.
So I wrote this article before, and I also made a video recently about shooting blind, where my EP5, the LCD screen, died.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because the lens that was on the camera was the 25 f1.8, and I think this was partially inspired by Mati Sulanto as well. He's not watching, so I don't have to say anything about him. Anyway. So, it's the one lens, one camera project, right? Which is his latest video as well.
Yeah.
It's about the lens that you use. Just stay with one lens for a long period of time, so your mind is used to that lens. So my favorite lens, I have two favorite lenses for street photography, 45 and 25. 45 for street portraits, and 25 for general everything with the 25 lens. I've been using that lens for 2-3 years, at least 3 years, and then the camera's LCD screen died. And it was interesting because I've used the lens so much that I decided to just shoot blind without the LCD screen. I left the VF4 in Kuala Lumpur. I was in another city back then, so I have no choice. I have no way of composing my shot. I just have to point the camera randomly. Okay, I think my subject is in my frame. take the photograph. The camera still can capture the photograph, right?
Yeah.
No problem. So I managed to get a set of quite interesting images, which I was very happy with. So yes, the 25 is definitely my favorite.
Oh,
my
right.
favorite. I can't say it for other people.
Of course, of course, we all have our own favorites. But then there is an interesting question, which I'm also interested to hear, that Guzman Favre is asking, Robin, you make great street portraits. I agree. Can you tell us more about how you gain people's trust? And this is really important thing, and I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay. Before I answer that question, it's very important for you to know where you are as well, because every different countries are different. I'm based in Malaysia, and most people here are friendly. They're okay with you approaching them. Maybe not during now with the COVID-19, social distancing, everything. But on normal days, people are generally quite accepting if you walk up to them and talk to them. So it's not an issue being in Malaysia and shooting portraits of strangers. I have done portraits of strangers in Australia, Perth, Western Australia. People there are amazing as well. I've done dozens of close-up portraits. Amazing people. I've done portraits of strangers in South Africa, in Cape Town and Johannesburg. Both cities, amazing people as well. The locals look fantastic. And pretty much, yeah, I've done portraits of strangers. Okay, other Asian countries, I don't want to count like Indonesia and Thailand, because it's very close to Malaysia, right? And even Singapore. I mean, these are pretty much, they're not that different from Malaysia. But if you're in Europe, I have not been to Europe, so I don't know how the people will react on the street. If you're in America, I heard that people can be really, they value their privacy, so they have, they don't like people coming too close to them and stuff like that. So, but being in Malaysia, if you have been here, trust me, just walk up to people, say hi, strike a conversation, and take a photograph. It's just as easy as that. There is no secret. I've done many videos on this. I just walk up to people, point a camera at them, smile, say hi, and just take a photograph.
Yeah, and I used to do that quite a lot, and I've actually had an exhibition in 2006 about these street portraits. And my approach was always that when I saw somebody that was interesting, I always commented on something. Hey, you have a really nice hat. Can I take your picture? When you say something like that, you got like 99% people will say they like the compliment, and then you can take the photo. And that's important, that what Robin said, that it's all about the culture. Like in Europe, it varies. It depends. Like it might be a bit different in France than in Germany, because they're quite different places. But I don't know what the situation is now. I haven't done that for many years, because things have changed a bit since then, and it's a bit different.
Another tip.
The privacy.
Can I share another tip?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Can I share? Yeah, one more tip. Yeah. It also helps if you go to the same place again and again. You show your face to the same people. And the first time that you appear there, like, who the hell is this with a camera? Then if you come back the next week, like, hey, I remember this guy from last week. Yeah, he bought some stuff from me, some food or whatever, right? Then the next week, see, hey, it's that dude again, and he's smiling at me. I want to find out more about him. So that's how I've been doing street photography for so long, and I've been going to the same streets for hundreds of times. Oh, yeah. So my presence is not alien. People know that, oh, this guy he's harmless. How harmful can I just have a camera with me, right? This is why it helps that your camera is not too big. If it's smaller, it looks less threatening. So
yeah, that's
helps.
true. But there is a limit to that too. I remember that I did with bigger cameras, with DSLRs, and at least here in Finland, it was more professional, and people gave me permission. But with a small camera, they would thought that I was some kind of a creep that wants to grab a photo. That's true.
No.
That's the way it is here in Finland, anyways. But I know that a lot of people that make these street portraits say that use a small camera. It's not that intimidating than a huge, bulky DSLR. But it was actually different here. Then there was one question about lenses, which I do get a lot too, but let's see. It's about upgrading from the kit lens, the 12 to 40 or 12 to 45. Which one would you recommend?
What camera?
Yeah, this the kit lens, and upgrading it to either the 12 to 40 or the 12 to 45. It's Christopher Martin. It's a way.
Did he say which camera he has? If you
No,
have
it doesn't
a
say
smaller
any camera.
if you are using EPL9 or EM10 or even maybe the EM5 Mark III, then the 12 to 45 makes sense if you want to keep the camera and lens combo as small as possible for travel. But if size is not a problem, if you don't care about size at all, then I'll suggest going for the 12 to 40 f2.8 because the f2.8 will allow you to do a bit more. Yeah. You can blur off the background a bit more. You can shoot better in low light as well. But if you have like EPL9 using the 1240, it's not that it's too big, but it's just that the 1245 will definitely balance on the camera much better.
Yeah, I used on one of my trips when it was possible to travel. I was in France and I had the EM5 Mark III with the 12 to 45 millimeter f4 lens, and I absolutely love the combo. It's actually, I don't have the 12 to 45 right now, but that's something that I'm gonna definitely buy when the situation gets better and the calendar starts filling up again. So because of the combo, I just love it. But of course that's me. But then about the kit lens is actually better than many think. I think it's the kit zoom is a really good lens. There's nothing wrong with that either. So if you're not in a hurry to get anything, then just go with the kit lens. But of course, if you need to get a bit faster lens, then the 12 to 40, like Robin said, is really something to consider. And let's see, we have 192. Let's see if we can break 200. That would be awesome. We need 8 people. Call your friends and ask them to join.
194.
Yeah. Yeah.
196.
196, yeah. Let's see what it says. This we'll get back to the shutter. Do you know how many you've made a video about how to see how many shutter counts your shutter has been? How do you know how many of your camera has been used? How many times?
The last I checked on my EM1 Mark II was 100,000 something.
Okay, I haven't checked at all. Maybe I should. You'd had a video about it, didn't you? How to check that out? Yeah, maybe I'll check out that video and see how it's done. It's pushing some buttons in the right order.
Yeah, it's like playing some game, like a secret hidden special door or something.
Yeah, and then there's one question about using Panasonic lenses on Olympus bodies. What are the disadvantages? What is your take on this, Robin?
I think, to me, I always recommend people to use Olympus lenses on Olympus cameras, Panasonic lenses on Panasonic bodies. There are a lot of things that Olympus and Panasonic do not share. I don't know whose fault. It can be Olympus' fault, it can be Panasonic's fault, it can be both. Or both companies just don't want to share with each other. For example, Panasonic lenses if you use Panasonic lenses on Panasonic bodies, you enjoy dual IS. Yeah. You don't get that if you use a Panasonic lens on Olympus body. You have to choose either the Olympus body IS or the lens IS, right? There are a lot of other issues as well. Certain characteristics of the lens flaws, like distortion, chromatic aberration, this correction, the data of the lens, Olympus, if you put Panasonic lens on Olympus bodies, Olympus will still try to correct it, but the data is not 100%. The correction is not done 100%. It's not done as effectively as if you use the Panasonic lens on Panasonic body. It's the same. You use Olympus lens on Panasonic bodies, you have some issues there and here as well. It's not a big problem. If you already own the lens, or if you want to buy certain lenses, then go for it. But if you have a choice between, if you're a Panasonic user, then might as well go for Panasonic lenses. It's just as simple as that. Then there is this very popular issue of, I think a lot of people claim this, say for example, if you use the 14 f2.5, the wide-angle lenses, right? 14 f2.5, the 714 f4 Panasonic lens, the I don't know which other lenses, 12 to 35 f2.8 lens, where these lenses, if you use it on Panasonic bodies, you don't get the severe purple haze or purple fringing issue, because Panasonic sensor has a layer of anti-alias filter, a very thin layer of anti-alias filter, whereas I think in Olympus, either the Olympus anti-alias filter is too thin, or there's no anti-alias filter at all in Olympus image sensor, and it sort of causes the purple fringing problem to be a lot worse.
Yes.
And it's very problematic to correct in post-processing.
Yeah.
I have had some of these problems myself.
Yeah.
That's why I don't use Panasonic lenses.
Yeah, that is the problem. And during your answer, that the top number was 203. Now it's a couple of people have left, but we will get back to that. We will get back to the 200 anyways. But that was
Come back,
please.
Right.
Let's see. There is some about the street lenses. Jai is asking about the 17 millimeter, but that's probably too wide for you. You used to more tighter lenses.
I think to me, I like the Olympus 17 lens. I like the build quality. It feels good on hand. In fact, a lot of you may not know this. My videos now, all my videos are only taken with two lenses. Olympus 17 1.8 and 45 1.8. Two lenses. Yeah. All my videos, except if I'm testing other lenses, right? 99% of my videos are made with 17 1.8 and 45 1.8. But for my photography, I don't use the 17 1.8 because I don't like the 35 mil equivalent focal length. That's it. Yeah. It is a personal thing. Just like I don't like all the manual focus. That's it. I try to love it. I'm okay with using 28, 24 equivalent. I love the 12 mil f2 lens. I love 714, 918. I love the 12 mil or any other Olympus lenses. I'm okay with 25, 45.
Now that I remember, do you know I have when this lockdown is over, I challenge you to put on the lens hood and use manual focus for one day.
No! No! No, maybe we'll find not the Olympus lens, but like maybe one of the more interesting manual lenses.
Oh yeah, okay, any lens, but you have to have the lens hood on and use manual focus.
No, we will talk about that later.
Yeah, we will do that later. If I ever come to Malaysia, I will film the video for you when you do that.
You see like 90% blur photos.
Yeah, but that's art. Let's see. And have you ever? There is a Peter Blackthorn is asking about the Olympus 9 to 18 millimeters. What's your take on that? Have you used that lens?
9 to 18?
Yeah, 9 to 18 millimeter lens.
Yes. I don't use it a lot because I don't own the lens. But from time to time, I have requested the lens from Olympus because, like Peter, myself, us Olympus Visionaries, we have access to any gear. So I do borrow it. And every time I borrowed the 9 to 18 was because it's so small. And I love it. And I think it's a great lens. And the engineering, if you understand the engineering behind the lens, it's a fantastic lens. For something so small and so compact with such a good image quality, I think it's a great alternative to the 714. If you can afford the 714, go for it. The f2.8 is the superior lens. But hey, if budget is an issue, the 9 to 18 is a no-brainer. Yeah. It's a great lens.
Yeah, I tested it. I think it was one of the, not my first, but when I started my channel doing in English, I think this is one of the first lenses I tested, and it was funny because it was a 3-day trip. I was in Saaremaa in Estonia, and it was like a 3-minute video, and I covered the whole lens. And now I can't even make a video about a lens that's less than 15 minutes. So it was a nice and compact video, but the stuff was there.
Yes.
And then there was about Marco Rabiosi is asking about what do you guys think of Panasonic 12 to 60 millimeter zoom plus Olympus 25 1.8 as a general travel kit. To me, that sounds like a good travel kit.
Sure. I've written a full review of the Panasonic 12-60 lens. I published it on Ming Tian's site. So just Google Robin Wong, Panasonic 12-60. You'll find a review article. I wrote the article before. Actually, I wrote the article after I quit Olympus. I was independent for a time before I joined the Olympus Visionary program. So for like a year and a half, I was like free. I reviewed Canon, Sony, like Panasonic. It was so fun. I've done so many reviews. So some of the Panasonic.
So you were fooling around.
Yes. So the 12-60 article was there. So do find it. I can't remember if Matti Sulanto was with me during the review because the location that I went to, I brought Matti Sulanto there. But maybe not, because if I did, he would have been really, he would have been really happy. But no, yeah, but the article is there. But 25, yes, 25 is an amazing lens. But if you want to travel, if you already have the 12-60, why not carry a different lens, like, I don't know, 40 to 150 or a range that the 12-60 doesn't cover, right? Like maybe you want to zoom things that's far away, or maybe even a 9-18, you want something wider, right? I think 25 is a great lens. If you have it, bring it. If you have it, bring it, right?
Yeah.
Don't, because it's so small. It's 100 something grams, right? It's so small.
Yeah,
but if you think of buying it, like.
But for me, that combo would be probably the one. That's something that I'll carry. If I ever get to 12-45, then I will bring the 25 1.8 as just for
sure.
the speed. Just for the speed for those night shots, maybe. Okay, let's continue and see. We still have tons of questions. Okay, this is an interesting thing that, and I bet Marco Ciappietta is asking follow-up to Guzman's questions. Have you ever formed any lasting relationships with strangers after a street photography session? And I assume that this means photography relationship and nothing else, I assume.
Was he talking about photography?
Yeah, the street photography, about strangers. So that you say that when you're going back, have you kind of like photographed them several times after that?
I think we have. I wouldn't say that we become friends, but we know each other, and when we meet each other, we will talk. I have some people. I've taken photos of them so many times that I started to print photographs, just a small print 4R. And give it back to them, and they were very happy to see those prints.
That's really nice.
And we know each other, and if they are vendors, sometimes they sell street food and stuff. I buy the food from them because I love food. I like eating. So we form some sort of a relationship. But yeah, it's pretty much like I see them on the street, say hi, then we ask about our day and we talk about it, and yeah, pretty much that's it. But anything beyond that, no. I don't think that we become close friends. We don't hang out or nothing more than that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we have.
Nice.
Okay, and this is Rob Trek. He has actually about the photographing the strangers. That if you look like a tourist, you get a free pass. People are more likely to let you take their picture. And that's actually true, because I know a lot of Olympus friends and other photographers who actually, they do a lot of street portraits when they travel, but they don't do it at home at all. And I sometimes have done it so that I've spoken English to them, so that they think that I am a tourist. It's kind of like they give you a permission easier, at least in some cases. That's how I've found it, and for some reason you actually might feel a bit more relaxed when you go kind of like from your neighborhoods and stuff, and it might feel more comfortable for you to ask strangers if you're abroad. I don't know. That could also work. Or then people are just nicer to tourists.
Yeah, some places I think is tourist-centric places. They want tourists to come here, so they buy stuff, right?
Yeah.
So they're nice.
Yeah, exactly. And let's see. Right. Let's see. Okay,
I
let's.
think,
Yeah, if there's.
can I pick the question? I think it's just immediately after Rock Track. James Fikas. So James is saying that I have a 4/3 E5. I have been very happy with it. I'm tempted to try a Micro Four Thirds. What is a good use Micro Four Thirds camera that I should look to buy without a huge investment?
Yeah, that's a
Now,
good one.
coming from the 4/3 E5, I used E5 before. I've reviewed the camera. It was actually the first product that I reviewed from Olympus.
Okay.
Long story. So if you have an E5, it means that you have some 4/3 lenses. So if you don't want to give up all those 4/3 lenses, then I will highly suggest that you look into EM1 or EM1 Mark II. Get an use EM1 or EM, if you can afford, get an EM1 Mark II with an adapter. I can't remember the adapter's name. It can be MMF3, MMF something. Get the right adapter, which adapts your 4/3 lens to Micro Four Thirds camera. And because the EM1 and EM1 Mark II, or even the latest EM5 Mark III and EM1 Mark III, these cameras has face detect built onto the sensor, and the face detect will allow your current lenses to work more efficiently, rather than if you use like say a non-EM1 series cameras, right? Let's say you use EM5 Mark II or a Pen F, then your lens will like you'll really struggle. So if you're really concerned about budget, EM1, start with EM1. You can't go wrong with the right adapter.
Yeah. That's what I would have said too. That's a good question. Good pick. I missed that. Sorry about that. Oh, there is one comment about photographing stranger from Sam Thompson. When I do my street photography, I'm always walking my 2 mini snouchers, and people know me as the old guy with the dogs and a camera.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. And Sam Thompson is a member of my Facebook group, and he has some really great street photography photographs. And
that's a good way to get people to warm up to you as well. There's something cute with you.
Yeah, it is. That's a good point, Sam. There. Let's see, and yeah, then this Kausta Paneye is asking you, Robin, if you're using the 25 millimeters, you use the f1.8 or the 1.2. Which one you use more?
Throughout my duration of time using these two lenses, I have used the 25 1.8 a lot more because the lens has been around longer than the 25 1.2. And I've only quite recently acquired the 25 1.2. I think it was about a year plus ago. So it's quite a new lens that I've bought. I don't buy a lot of lenses per year. I maybe just buy 1 or 2 lenses per year, right? And 25 1.2 was the lens that I bought in late 2018. Yeah. So after I got the 25 1.2, that's the lens that I use. I don't touch the 25 1.8 anymore. So, but then if you say that which one I use more, of course, over the last 4 or 5 years, I use the 25 1.8 a lot more.
Yeah, but now you prefer the faster lens.
Of course, the 1.2.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is also interesting question. John Ellis, if you did not shoot Micro Four Thirds, which system would you use?
Canon.
Oh, you would? You would?
Canon. One reason, only one reason, the colors. Of all the system colors, I'm just going to be honest here, right? I hate Sony colors. I've owned Sony cameras before. I'm no joke, right? I really tried, even recently, now that I have so much time at home, I start to dig out my old Sony photos and try to process them again. Like today, with all that I've learned over these years, all the improvement, I still hate the colors. I'm sorry, Sony colors just cannot make it for me. Nikon, not as bad as Sony, but it's still quite bad. Fuji is quite good. The color is quite good. But if I really want the colors that I really like, Canon. Yeah, I'll go for Canon just for the colors.
I would most likely go with Fuji. There's something about Fuji. I like it. There's something about it.
Is it the vintage look of the
Yeah,
cameras?
maybe that's the thing. I don't know I don't know that much about those, but I remember because I have one Fuji still in my cabinet with my old cameras, the X10, which was one of the first of their street photography cameras, and there was only one fault with that, because I've also looked at old photos from that camera, and those are really gorgeous. But there was only one problem. You had the viewfinder in the edge, which was good, but it was only a glass where you look through, and you did not know where the camera was focusing, so it was impossible to be sure, because you didn't have any information. It was just a hole with some glass, and that was
fun fact. I had the X100 before.
Original X100. Yeah, that was the upgrade from the X10, which made it really nice images, but that was Okay, let's see. Yeah, people are.
We still have 200.
Sorry.
Still have 200. Still have 200.
Oh yeah, we've had 213. I wrote it down, the biggest number I saw.
Wow.
That's a good number. Let's see. And yeah, this is Marsa Zangronit says that keep hitting the like button. Yeah. Thumbs up for that comment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give us thumbs up.
Thank you. Let's see. And Roman is asking me. I just picked this. Asking me if I've ever used the Leica lenses on Micro Four Thirds, and I have to say that I have not used any. I've tested a few, but really not. I can't say that I've used, but I've tested a few because been working with Matti Sulanto with videos, and I've used them and just tried them. But the funny thing is that we had planned all kinds of things that we could do together, but we cannot right now. So, but we will when this thing is over. We will do in summer things together with these lenses and testing different lenses.
Leave the comments if you want to see more of the Matti and Peter crossovers. We want to see more, right? More videos. Matti and Peter collaboration. I want to see those as well.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Okay, and then Britta Kaas is asking that does a UV filter affect image quality? So is a ultraviolet filter needed anymore?
I don't know. I don't use UV filters, mainly because there are a lot of issues. A lot of the UV filters that I shoot with gives me. Okay, maybe it's just me, right? I'm using cheap filters, so don't be like me. I think if you use the high grade, high quality UV filters, you don't have these problems. But I get flares, ghosting. Like how if you have a birthday candle, there's like double image of the birthday candle. Like you have all those multiple dots. It's very annoying. But I know that that's a problem of cheap filters, which I admit I'm using. But then again, you have to also bear with me that a lot of my work with Olympus and a lot of my work on my YouTube channel or my blog, I'm testing cameras and lenses. And I want to show the lenses, the best performance from the lens. And every single piece of glass that you put in front of the lens will cut a small amount of light and will change the way the light enters the lens. And that will not give you a 100% accurate representation of what the lens can do. So when I test a lens, when I review a camera, using whatever lens, I always don't use a filter for that reason, because I want you to see the actual quality that the lens is able to resolve. Yeah, but I've no issue if you want to use a UV filter, make sure there's not a cheap one. I understand some people use it to protect the lens so that you don't smudge the lens, and then if you hit the lens or something, then it's the UV filter that gets the scratch. It's not the lens. I understand. I'm not against UV filter. Please don't attack me. Right? Just that don't use cheap ones like me.
No, that's always with filters. That's one thing that usually the more expensive it is, the better it is. That usually goes that way. And UV filters were really important during the film days because that kind of blocked and made the image look a bit sharper because it blocked some light. But I don't think it's that necessary anymore with digital, unless you want to protect your lens, like Robin said. Then I just want to highlight Marco Salomon because he's a really wise guy. He says, "Hi guys, I watch you almost every day." Thank you, Marco.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then there is, I think this one is interesting for you, Robin. There is a growing followers of Olympus cameras and lenses here in the Philippines. Any plans of extending Olympus stores here to be more accessible to working photographers / photojournalists here? Do you know anything about that? It's at least it's closer to Malaysia than it's to Finland. So
here is a funny story. I think when was there was a volcanic eruption sometime in December, right? Very sorry to hear that for the Filipinos. But the 1 week before that volcanic eruption disaster, I was supposed to visit Philippines, and everything was already confirmed. I was going on behalf of Olympus Asia Pacific, and we were supposed to do an Olympus EM5 Mark III event in Philippines, and I was told that the local dealers are starting up to do something, and there'll be certain retail business going on between the local retailers in Philippines and Olympus officially. But whether this plan still continues, I don't know. Whether the business deals are going, it happened, whether it was successfully went through, and that things are going to happen, I don't know. I have no details. All I knew was I was supposed to go there to help start up things, to help talk to the customers, to do events with the Filipinos. I have a lot of Filipino friends, a lot of Filipino photographer friends who work in Malaysia. I have some photographers that I admire. They are Filipinos. I think Filipino people are amazing. I really want to visit your country. And I was just so sad that I didn't get to visit your beautiful country, and it didn't happen. So, and now that the whole world is under crisis, and it's a bit hard to predict what will happen next. But I really hope that Olympus picks up in the Philippines. I think you guys deserve.
Yeah.
You have a strong base in the Philippines.
Yeah, let's hope that you can go there and talk about Olympus. And then there is one question that I know that you've been asked this a lot about macro photography. We have been talking about how you approach people, but how you approach the insects. Is there a difference?
Treat them with respect. Don't touch the insects. Don't relocate them. I know some people, they like to kidnap the insect, bring it home, put it in the fridge, freeze the insect, and don't do that. It's animal cruelty. Respect nature. Don't touch it. We are just observers. Our role is to observe, capture the image. Don't interfere. Don't interrupt whatever that's happening. Just capture the image and just move on. I have to admit, I don't get lucky all the time. Sometimes I go out on a 2-hour session and I only come home with 1 or 2 photographs. Sometimes in 1 hour I get more than 10 photographs, which I'm like, oh, so happy, right? But if you find good photographs, you find good photographs. If you don't, just enjoy the walk. It's not, sometimes like what Peter said earlier, when we go out to shoot photographs, it's not about the photographs. At the end of the day, it's about us being out there. It's the entire process that we have to enjoy, right? And I treat the same with macro photography. And I don't necessarily have anything to achieve when I do insect macro photography. I have nothing to prove. To me, it's my training ground. It's like how I keep myself fit. Because I need to take care of my focus, I need to take care of my flash control. I'm controlling a camera, everything in manual, except autofocus. I still use autofocus.
Yeah, I was just gonna.
Sometimes autofocus. Yeah, but it's my training ground. It's how I keep myself. I maintain my reflex when I do photography.
Yeah, that's good. And there was actually also about the autofocusing question there too, but you answered that also.
Okay.
And then let's go forward. There are lots of questions here. Let's see. Okay, this is a question that what camera you use for streaming now. I have the EM1 Mark II right there with the Elgato cam link, which I use.
I'm just using a Logitech webcam.
Yeah.
A cheap
It's look
200 ringgit webcam.
It looks good. It looks okay. And let's see. Let's see. Okay, this is something that I've been asked, but I have no knowledge or any experience about the tripod mount. This is Peter Blackthorne asking. Have you heard any flexing and cracking issues with the tripod mount on the EM5 Mark III? And if you have, is Olympus addressing this issue?
I have had one person emailing me, I think about a month plus ago, and I have seen one or two posts on DP Review Forum of someone sharing similar issues. I haven't seen any more cases. Besides this few, it's quite a handful. I don't know whether it is a specific, isolated, one batch of a small batch problem, like only these few cameras are affected based on this production, or it's a common design flaw of all cameras. I have been doing my videos on my YouTube with the EM5 Mark III since I got it last December. So I've been using it since December, January, February, March, April now. So it's been 4 or 5 months. I've been making 2 videos every week. And every single time I use tripod, the EM5 Mark III on a tripod. So I'm using it at least 2 to 3 times, shooting actively on tripod every week. And my EM5 Mark III, there's completely no issue. And I've mounted a lot of different lenses on it. Not just, I know the most lenses I use are the 17 and the 45, but sometimes I also mount like the 12 to 40 or the 75, you know, to get different kind of effect on my video footage. But so far, no issue. But the email that I got from the person who alerted the problem to me, I have already forwarded to Olympus. I trust they have received the email, they have done whatever they need to do, but I haven't received any word from Olympus whether this is an isolated incident or if it's a general design flaw. So that's all I can say.
Yeah, I have had the same experience, and Robin, that I've heard one incident. It could be the same one. I don't know. I haven't got
maybe.
Could be because I haven't got any emails about that. But I'm sure if that is an issue, Olympus is addressing it. Of course, they will fix it if there is a problem. But I haven't had any problems. Or at least and of course, but I haven't used tripod with that camera that much, so I can't really say anything about that in that sense. And let's see. Let's see what. All right, this I need to, because there's somebody's cheering from Canada. He's putting thank you in Finnish and has a Finnish last name, so most likely is a some immigrant from Finland, because that was a big thing in the like 120 years ago. There's a lot of Finns moved over to the U.S. and Canada, so
Nice.
so probably a Finn.
Nice.
And then there is somebody else's. Okan761 says Canon colors, thumbs up.
Yes, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And this is an interesting, the Canadian Finn who asking, how do you guys best overcome the low light limitations with the Micro Four Thirds system?
Limitations?
Of low light limitations. It's probably talking about the noise level, I assume.
To me, like for the photography that I do low light theater. I shoot a lot of mini concerts in environments where sometimes the lighting is not ideal. Use f1.8 lenses. So I have the 17, 25, 45. And if you are a professional photographer, if you are the official photographer for the event, you're allowed to go really close. So being so close, 45 1.8 and 75 1.8 is sufficient. And currently I have the 25 1.2, which helps as well. But I don't think that you need the f1.2 lens if you can get f1.8. Instead of having to use ISO 6400, for example, you can lower it down to ISO 3200 or even lower. And to me, shooting with the EM1 Mark II and the EM5 Mark III, at ISO 6400 to me is still perfectly fine. I have no problem shooting with ISO 6400. And if I want to stretch to ISO 12000 to 800, I have no issue as well. But I generally try to keep it below 6400. 6400 at f1.8, you can do a lot. If it's a lot darker than that, I don't have experience.
Yeah.
I think you are in a more challenging situation than I am, so I can't comment.
Yeah. And one thing that I recommend always is try to get the exposure as correct as possible.
Yes,
you don't want to
very
underexpose, because then you will introduce noise if you need to boost up the exposure in post. Try to make the image as bright as possible, but then lower the exposure in post, and then you will get a lot better result.
Very good advice. Remember, never underexpose.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
And then I have to put this Ole Osheim. We also love Matti.
Yes, we do.
We do. Yes, he's a great guy. And this
he told me earlier, Matti, that I think it'll be this session will be too Olympus heavy.
he said that to me a couple hours before I started. He said that it's going to be too Olympus heavy. Yeah.
Olympus.
And then Sam Thompson is asking, after the lockdown, I know Robin is going to get a haircut, but what will Peter do? I don't know. I don't need well, actually, I do need a haircut, but you don't see the messy hair because of the... I don't know what I'm gonna do. Most likely I will take my camera and go out and photograph people. That's probably what I think I will do that. Most likely.
Oh, I miss that. I miss shooting.
That is. After you go to the haircut or to the barber shop, then you can go and make some images. All right. Let's see. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh yeah, this one was interesting from Masterflow. That do you think that the new live ND function in the new Olympus OMD cameras will make ND filters obsolete? What do you think?
Not yet. If they can make the ND filter, live ND, available for video, then
and also we need all the way up to 10 stops.
ND 400, ND 400 or 800.
Yeah, we need darker, but it's a good start with 5 stops, and where I've used it the most, I don't have the EM1 Mark III usually. Right now I do have, because we have these online training sessions in Finland called Home with Olympus. And if you have now that I remember to say that, I know that Olympus UK and Olympus US also have, and I think it's available for anybody from any place in the world. I don't think it's restricted to different countries, because it's online stuff. You can sign up. But where was I? I was about the ND filter. Yeah, with the 7 to 14 millimeter is a really good, because the ND filters, for that you need a big adapter and huge filters, and those filters are not very cheap. They are really expensive. So on that one I've used it quite a lot, and I really hope that they would make it all the way up to 10 stops and maybe more in the future. That would be totally excellent.
Great.
But it's a good start. It's a good start. Let's see. Any other questions? This is interesting. Guzman Favre is asking, for you, what is the best weather/time of the day for street photography? Do you have any favorite weather or time?
Actually, well, I shoot in the morning, like early morning, between 8 to 10. Mainly because, most of the time the light is good, because the light comes from the side. It's directional. If you move towards afternoon, then the sun is too high. Where I'm in a tropical country, so afternoon sun will be too harsh. When the light comes from the top down, it's just very uncomfortable. People don't open their eyes. You have harsh shadow everywhere. Lighting is terrible. So generally, you prefer a side light, which is much earlier in the morning. That is one reason. But the real reason is after 10 o'clock, 11, it's just too hot.
Yeah.
We just don't want to shoot anymore.
Yeah.
That is the real reason. So we start early when it's not too hot, and by the time it's 10 or 10:30, we'll find an overpriced coffee to finish off the session.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
That's it. For me, is the time when the blue hour kicks in and they turn on the artificial lights in the city, all the neon lights, the what do you call the windows, the display windows. You got street lights. That's the moment that I like. And there's one unique thing about living in the north in Finland, because we have about an hour of blue.
Yes.
The blue hour. It's actually a blue hour, in not every season, but it's really long, and that's probably when the sky starts to get really deep blue, and you got those warm street lights, and that's my favorite time.
Yeah, we get like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know, and that's quite unique here in Finland, and because also in the midday it's too harsh. Even here is the light, even though it doesn't shine from the up, but it's still very high, and then of course in another great thing about living in the north is that during the summertime it doesn't get dark at all actually. So you got and in the north the sun is up all summer, so.
I remember Matti Sulanto, he complained that he wanted to do a video on live composite, but he couldn't do it because it's not dark enough.
Yeah, that's true.
I think during summer, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see if we have any other questions. We still have over 200 people, and we've been here for 2 hours. This is mind blowing. This is going to be.
It's fun hanging out with you guys.
Oh yeah, they had very good questions.
Yes.
Yeah, let's see. And then this is interesting about Brita Kasi is asking, when I take landscape shots, I think the images become blurry and woolly when compared to a full-frame camera. But for macro or anything else close, the camera is great. Can you explain why? Have you any thoughts on that?
Could the lens be a little bit out of focus when it comes to infinity or focusing that's far away? Because that could be an issue. You might want to get it checked out. Yeah. Okay. So in Malaysia, especially in Kuala Lumpur, because it's a big city, when we take photographs of things that's far away, they always tend to look a little bit blur because of the air pollution.
Yeah.
It's not because of the lens. Any camera that you use, full frame, medium format, whatever camera that you use, if you use the highest end size lens on it, the Olympus, you still see a little bit of blur because of the atmospheric pollution, right? But if that's not the problem, if that's not the case, then maybe there's something wrong with the lens focus. Because I think some lenses have issues focusing far. You might want to get it checked out.
Yeah, but I would say that, Brita, why don't you send me one of those images and I could take a look. There is a contact info in the description of this video, and please send me one of those images and I can take a look and see what the problem is, because that sounds a bit odd. I can't really figure this out what it could be, but if you send me one of those photographs, so and I could take a look and see what there is, if it's the lens or something else.
Awesome.
Let's see what else.
So Frank, again, this is a faulted lens question. Frank Closet, so I'm sorry if I pronounce the name wrong, Frank. He's asking, what are losses if I use older faulted lenses on micro faulted bodies? In terms of image quality, you don't lose anything. You still get the exact same image quality you get from the lenses. But if you put the older faulted lenses on the micro faulted bodies, the obvious thing that you lose is autofocus speed. It will not be as good as the current micro faulted lenses. it will still be as good as what you get with those lenses in DSLR, but they were never fast. If you remember using them, maybe they were fast during that time, but if compared to what we can do today, it is miles behind.
Yeah.
So it's the autofocus speed that you lose.
Yeah, but if autofocus speed is not an issue, then it doesn't matter. It depends on what you shoot.
Correct.
If
correct.
it's not moving subject, then it doesn't really matter actually that much.
That is correct.
Let's see what we have. Let's see.
Sam Thompson is saying that Jimmy is on live tonight on Olympus UK Facebook, but you guys are the better draw. Oh, thank you.
I saw that, but I didn't want to put that up because because Jimmy is a nice guy and I like his stuff.
But Jimmy was with Peter earlier. Yeah, if you guys saw that.
There.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, and this, I want to put this. Dave Nelson, robbing Wong is a live stream magnet. Yeah, he is. We still have over 200.
I try to do what I can.
Yeah, but you're good. We still have over 200 here. Where we going?
Okay, so David Crooks asked me directly, your country doesn't allow engaging in outdoor exercises such as walking, hiking, running, biking, while abiding social distancing? No. David, so Malaysia is under lockdown since March 18th. It is not a full lockdown, it's a partial lockdown. We are not allowed to go out from the house except to get essentials. And when I say essentials, it's really essentials. We are not even allowed to get our favorite food. And the lockdown, during the lockdown, the police and the army are patrolling on the streets. They put roadblocks. So if you drive through the roadblocks, they'll check where you live. If you drive too far, you will get fined or you'll get sent to jail. And if you're caught wandering off the streets for no reason, you just step out the door, just stand outside for no reason, you get caught as well. You're not allowed to do any activities. All gyms are closed, all parks are closed. If you're actually, a lot of foreigners, expats, they are caught running, jogging on the park. They were all being fined and sent to jail. So no, we are stuck at home. We are not allowed to go out to do any other activities.
That's a rough.
No photography.
That's a rough punishment to go to jail in Malaysia. I wouldn't want to do that. Or so anywhere else.
No shuttle therapy allowed. No shuttle therapy.
No shuttle therapy allowed. And no go to jail in any place in that matter. So for jogging.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
I'm stuck here. But hey, you get to see me live with Peter.
Yeah.
So not too bad.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Greetings to Jimmy. Yeah, this Rita Kazi is saying he's using the probably meaning M.Zuiko 7-14 and 12-40 Pro, so it's not most likely the lenses. There must be something else, and use normally f8. And it most likely it's not diffraction at f8 that bad anymore. You know, you can go all the way to f11 actually. I just made a video for fun of it and just tested my lenses because I didn't have anything else to do, and I thought it was a good idea just to see if there's a truth, because diffraction's been, at least for me, a lot of people have been asking about it, and I would go all the way up to f11, and after that you might want to see it, but then it's all up to you if you can handle it. But it can be diffraction. That's one possibility. That maybe try f5.6, and I think you should get with 7mm at least. You should get enough depth of field with that too. So I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, if you need f8 for a full frame, f4 would be sufficient for a micro four thirds camera. Yeah. Right, it gives you the equivalent depth of field.
Yeah, it does.
So you don't need. If you're happy with f8 on your full frame camera, then you don't need f8 on micro four thirds. You can get away with f4.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting question, but with something that we are not, or we are disagreeing. John Dawson is asking about the menu button position in the EM1 Mark III.
I don't think it is a deal breaker. I complain about it. I don't like it because I want everything to be on one side so I can just reach with one finger. It's not a big problem. I think if I were to own the EM1 Mark III, which I think I will, it's just a matter of time. I said I'm not in a rush of getting it, but sooner or later I'll be getting one. It just takes some time for me to get used to it. I remember when I upgraded from EM1 to EM1 Mark II, I kept messed around. I kept confused with the review and the menu button, the playback and the menu button. I remember I kept screwing that up. It took me a while to get used to it. So every new camera, Olympus likes to shift things around.
But I think to have it like this, I think it's all right because then if you have the screen open, then I have to admit that it's a bit awkward.
But, a bit weird.
But if you have it like this, then I think it's fine. But I can see that what would be good if they would make it customizable, so you could put it here if you wanted to. If you could switch it, that would be totally cool.
That would be a good feedback to give back to Olympus.
Yeah, actually I have. And then there is about the buttons too, because I like to use this as a power button, the leveler.
Yeah.
But then the power button, there's no function for that.
No function. Yeah.
Well, that could be something. That could be also something.
You know what, Peter? This is actually something that really happened. Like in Olympus Malaysia, someone switched the power button to the function 1 and 2 button, and then nobody could figure out how to turn on that camera. Because nobody knew that it was customized that way. Until even it took me like 5 minutes to realize, oh, maybe this is the on button that I turn it on. Yes. Yeah. It took me a while to realize.
It is. That's because I do a lot of lectures, and I have my cameras, and then somebody wants to test how it feels, and then he comes back, how do you turn this on? because I always forget to reset it when I go to give lectures and show my camera maybe there.
You should tell them, oh, it only reads my thumbprint.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, this is interesting from Roman K. He has had some good questions. Do you think Olympus will bring the spacey designs from 2000s back? He's probably referring to these. I think they had some jubileum cameras or like 100, not 100, but 80-year and 75-year-old. These when they turned, 75 years, they had some, anniversary models and stuff like that.
I don't remember seeing. Let me just do a quick search. Olympus.
Yeah, they have some. I don't remember the models, but I looked up for those when I made my 100 years Olympus video about 100 facts, and then there were some of these spacey looking kind of like concept cameras that had like a limited edition thing. And
I think new design will be good. As long as it looks good, I'm okay. Yeah. Don't give me ugly cameras, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's good, it's fine.
Yeah. I don't think they will do any special cameras for I don't think, because it's quite expensive to design a totally new camera and then set it 200 pieces. But I don't know.
Yeah. David Crooks asks, Robin, what if you had a dog? No, man, cats. Always cats. What dogs? Always cats, man. Have you seen my channel?
Yeah, we have a cat, but it's like she's 15 years old, but getting to be old. I think she's having some Alzheimer type dementia or something, because she forgets things.
Oh, no.
That's what it seems, but she's old.
Oh.
But I like both. We've had a dog and we've had cats, so I like them both. I think Miroslav Kokor is asking that, do you think there will be a battery grip for EM5 Mark III? I think, is it even possible? I don't think they have the electricity in the the connections.
No
in
contact.
The bottom. Yeah. I'm not sure. So no. That's my impression, that there won't be.
Yep, no battery grip for the EM5 Mark III.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that it is a bad decision. You have to understand that when Olympus released the EM5, it was the first OMD camera, so it has to have everything, right? But now that the OMD line has matured, Olympus starts to differentiate my pronunciations.
Differentiate, I
those
think it is,
products, yes, better. So the EM1 will be like the one with the battery grip, with all the fancy stuff. And coming down, the EM5 series will be more simplified.
Yeah. That's true. What about you? Lawrence Shrivedersky says that tilt screen's good, the swing out not so much. I actually for photography I like the tilt screen a lot more, but I do a lot of video, then the swing out is flippy screen is better. And then of course this flippy screen is good, you can turn it, you can just turn it away, which is good. So, but I wouldn't mind tilt screen on just a camera for photography. That's not a
true.
not a.
I agree. I think the swivel screen is for video, right? And there's a demand for
then it's
video.
really good for video. It's better, but for photography, I would prefer the.
That's the only reason why Olympus did it, because this is something that's true. I found this out during the work while I was working for Olympus. It is a nightmare putting a swivel screen on the camera, because chances of the swivel screen being broken, because it's a physically moving thing, is very high. So it costs a lot more for the service and the warranty department when they do the swivel screen. They just do it because of the demand. If they can, they don't want the swivel screen.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
I think Panasonic has one camera with the L series that has a screen that is both. It's a tilt screen and a flippy screen of swivel. It goes. There's some kind of a mechanism, and it works like this, and then you can turn it this way. Which would
I think they'll make it a little bit more complicated.
Oh yeah, it is.
The design-wise,
oh yeah,
how
it is.
fragile it will become.
It is. It is.
It's an engineering nightmare.
Oh yeah, it only is. And let's see, a lot of people are praising cats. Let's put this on. Bacharach has cats.
Yes.
Cats rule.
Because I did a very interesting a while back. I did an interesting chart or workflow, a flow diagram on street photography. What you do when you're on the street. So at one point, if you see a cat, forget everything. It starts like this. If it does the subject meow, that's a yes or no. If it's no, then continue to do whatever you want. But if it's yes, then forget what you do and pet the cat. So that's the flow of the diagram.
All right. Yeah.
My street photography flow chart.
And then there is Paul Stapleton is asking, do either of you make use of memory C1, C2, or C3, or maybe C4 buttons? How do you use those memory slots?
For my I don't use it for my commercial shoots or my professional shoots. So because for my professional shoots, it's either I use full manual or aperture priority. If I shoot with flash, it'll be just full manual. So I don't need any additional settings. I know my ISO, aperture, shutter speed, everything is fully controlled. But I do use the custom buttons for a few occasions. For example, when I'm shooting macro. So I'll customize like f8, ISO 200, shutter speed 1/200, and flash power certain things. Everything is already customized. I'll just save it just in case. If I need to change the settings, I want to go back to the previous settings. I have a custom button I can just turn it to. That's one way I use the custom button. Second custom settings that I used was when I shoot Milky Way. Because, oh my god, when I'm shooting the stars out in the middle of nowhere, I cannot see the buttons of the cameras.
Oh yeah.
And being an Olympus, I'm working for Olympus. I'm the product specialist. I have to deal with a lot of cameras. I need to deal with EM10, EM5, EM1. That previously there's like EP3, there's EP5, there's Pan-F. There's so many cameras. Every single camera has different buttons at different places. I cannot remember where the buttons are. So it helps that with my camera, like, okay, I know that my Milky Way settings, my ISO is 3200, shutter speed 20 seconds, aperture f2.8, and manual focus, and that's it. All I have to do is just turn to the custom button, maybe do a little bit of fine tuning there and here. It really helps me a lot. And that's the few cases that I use the custom settings.
Yeah. The way I use it, I always have on C1, I have my basic settings that I normally use for everyday shooting. And then when I go out for some special occasion, maybe for work or something else, then I will program C2, C3 for that occasion. And then I know what it is for. Well, let's say that I go to a venue and then I have something for portrait, something for maybe the later night when it gets dark, and it's a lot easier and faster. And that's also one improvement that Olympus should do. They should have some small LED lights around us so that you could see, or something that you could see. That would be so good, because that is something.
They used to have that in the E620.
Oh, they did?
The DSLR. Yes, they have a backlit button in E620.
Yeah.
I never had a camera.
Oh,
but
I didn't know that.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, like they did it before.
So they can do it again. Yeah, so they can do it again. Let's see if we have still some questions here. Yeah, this is interesting. MKIII Trojanovsky is asking, how do you find TG series for street photography? Have you ever used those TG GT4 or 5 or 6? Do you think they are any good for street photography?
To me, okay, I'm just gonna talk for my personal street. For my personal street photography, I do a lot of street portraits, and I need to blur off the background because on the street you can't predict the background, and I can't always say, please don't stand here, please move to the right. I mean, it's not nice. Yeah. So normally I shoot the people where they are, and so I just direct them, maybe turn your face a little bit to the light, and that's it.
Okay, yeah.
I don't move them, right? And because of that, I can't control the background. So the ability for me to blur the background is very important. That's where I use the 45 1.8 lens. And the TG is, you can't do that. You see everything. So if you want to do street photography with the TG camera, you need to do a very different kind of street photography. You need to include your background. You do a lot of wide angle photography. You need to do environmental portraits. I still think it's a great camera. It's not too fast. So if you're capturing like very critical moments, you will most likely miss as well. But the camera does have pro capture mode. So if you use that to advantage, it will help you to get moments as well.
Yeah.
It's not a bad camera for street photography. It's very small. I would go for the black version. I wouldn't use the red version because the red would just attract attention.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll go for the black. Other than that, one problem though, one problem that this is my experience, right? Because the camera doesn't have a viewfinder, doesn't have, right? TG no viewfinder, right? It's just the LCD screen.
Yes.
The LCD screen was not that great from my memory of using it. And I'm in the tropical country where the sun is so bright. So it does, there will probably be some of the small issues. But as a general street camera, yeah, it works. It can work. Definitely can work.
Yeah, that is true. Let's see. Okay, this is also interesting. By Dave Nelson. Any chance of a long mirror lens for OMD EM camera line?
I've not heard anything from Olympus. No. I don't know.
I haven't heard. I have one old one that's an Olympus brand. I think it's the for film era, and it's a quite fun lens. And the funny thing is that you can set the extender, the MC14 and MC20 with that lens. So
wow!
Yeah, because there is enough room. It's kind of empty in the middle, so you can actually fit it there. And that's quite a fun lens. It's a long lens. Not very good quality, but really nice, totally round bokeh with kind of like donut rings, and it looks
the donut ring.
Yeah, it looks really great. But I don't think anyone ever makes or ever never. How do you say that? No. Well, those lenses are not made anymore. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah,
true.
I don't think any brand makes those anymore. Let's see. Yeah, there aren't too many questions. If you have any, we've been here, oh my gosh, over 2 hours already, and still 107.
It felt like 1 hour.
Oh yeah, and still 170 people still here.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is. And this is Nelson Charette is asking that I've never used Pro Capture. When should I use it?
In moments where you need to capture that one split second of a moment. The only good example I can give you is capturing a bird that's about to take flight. Because if you see the bird perching on a branch or a tree, and you're waiting for the bird to fly, if you can't predict before the bird flies, like you start shooting before the bird flies, if you see the bird spreading the wing and start to fly and you click the shutter button, it's too late.
Yeah.
You are too late. You are delayed. The camera is delayed. Everything is delayed. You see the bird flying, you click, it's too late. So that's where the Pro Capture mode helps, right? When you half press the shutter button with the Pro Capture mode, the camera is already capturing the images without you realizing. It's just not saving into the card, it's saving into the camera. And when you see the bird fly, you think it's too late. But when you press it, you capture up to 34 or 35. Yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah, you can set it from, I think it's from 8 to 35. I think you can. 35
shots, right?
Yeah.
So you get like 35 shots before you click the shutter button. You have like about half a second or more buffer, right? And it'll definitely get a shot of the bird slowly opening out the wings and fly. It's just amazing. So that's one example I can give you. You can use it to shoot like if you have a balloon of water, put it on someone, and use a needle, poke it, so you have a Pro Capture to capture the moment that the balloon is burst and the water is coming down on the person.
Yeah,
that's one way of
that is one way.
Yeah.
And then there's actually a couple of people have been saying about the mirror lenses, and I love when people are correcting me because I was wrong. Samyang is making a 300mm lens for Micro Four Thirds. That's good to know. That's good to know. That's good to know. Then there was some question that I think we did go already. No, it was that one. And this one also, Rick Joyce is asking about, have you used focus stacking handheld?
I have.
So it's possible, but it's hard to do.
It's hard to do, that's one thing, but I don't like the fact, there's only one thing, there's one reason why I'm not using it. I don't get the RAW file. I only get the JPEG.
Yeah. And
to me, sometimes I need especially when I do macro photography, I need the RAW file. And the photos are rarely perfect, so I sometimes need to tweak a little bit. So that's the only reason that I'm held back. John McCormack is saying that which Oly cameras have Pro Capture? Panasonic has it, 4K. Now I need to correct you there. 4K photo on Panasonic is not the same with Olympus Pro Capture. Number one, Panasonic 4K photo, you only get 4K photo. That is not even a full resolution. In Olympus Pro Capture mode, you get a full RAW file captured, and you get full 60 frames per second.
Yep.
Pro Capture is no joke, right? It's at full 60 frames per second, 60 frames per second RAW. But Panasonic, you get JPEG. That's a big difference. So for Olympus cameras, it starts with EM1 Mark II, EM1X, EM5 Mark III, but the EM5 Mark III is slightly slower, and of course the latest EM1 Mark III.
Yes.
These are the cameras that have the Pro Capture mode.
Yeah. And then there is eBowden53 is asking about live boost. He has trouble. I have turned it off, but I still see no difference on the LCD or through the viewfinder. What am I doing wrong? To
turn it off. So live view boost.
Yeah. Or live boost.
Off.
Yeah.
Live view boost. So you're expecting to see a difference. So are you saying that you don't see what you don't get what you see? Like you. Okay, from my understanding is if you turn off the live view boost, if you adjust the aperture or shutter speed in manual mode, you will see the changes live. There's a live exposure simulation, right? If you turn it off. when we turn it on, then the view is constant. You don't see any changes. So you say you don't see a difference. I don't get it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm sorry about this one. I really don't know the answer for this one. Sorry about that. And then Tina Bergstrom is asking about flashes. She's about to buy her first flash. I would use it for macro freezing motion and portraits. What are the pebbles to the Godox versus Olympus RV700? For this one, I would say that it's about if you can afford the Olympus 700, I would go for that, because it is a good system with the radio triggering. But then you need also, if you only get one flash, you need the radio trigger for your flash too. And Godox, I have Godox Studio flashes, and those are really good. And I know that they make good flashes for Olympus also, for Micro Four Thirds, and I think it comes down to the money. I would say can't go wrong with Godox either. Those are really good things. I don't know what, Robin, you probably aren't you using Godox flashes, aren't you?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
The flash that I use is the Olympus FL50R.
Oh, okay.
The dinosaur flash. I have 3 of them. They are still going strong. They just refuse to die.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, if they die, then I'll replace it with an FL700R or maybe a Godox or whatever. But they just don't die.
All
so.
Right. Yeah. All right. Okay, this is interesting. Stanley Morinaka is asking about, I have a weird problem with getting good reds from Olympus. Lumix is okay. Is there a setting to adjust? How does it look to you? So he has some problems with the red color.
I have the opposite problem. The red in the Lumix is... I may sound like I'm so biased. It just looks wrong. The red color is wrong in Lumix. Yeah. It's like, okay, for example, I actually showed this to Mati Sulanto, right? We went to a wet market in Kuala Lumpur. I showed him, you see the red in my Olympus camera is the red I see the tomatoes, right? It's exactly what it's captured. Then the one captured in his G9 is wrong. It's totally off. There's like hint of purple and pink in the red. It's just totally wrong. To me, I don't know what's the experience with the red that you're referring to, but I'm using there's 2 softwares that I'm using, right? Olympus Workspace and Capture One Pro, and both cameras have extracted the red colors from the raw files quite faithfully. Like I see the red color in real life, I capture it, and look at my screen, it's the same. That's my experience. So far, that's true for me. It may be different for you, so I can't speak for you. But from my experience, I've used a lot of Panasonic cameras. GH4, GH5. I have used LX100. I have GM5, GM1. The colors. Trust me, there's something wrong with the red.
Well, maybe it's just a matter of taste. I haven't had any problems with Olympus reds either. Maybe it's maybe. But if you don't like it, then of course in post you could lower it a bit. And then also if you have the keep warm colors on, it might be a bit warmer side that you might not like too. So you try to turn that maybe off, or then add from the white balance adjustment from the, what do you call the, I forget the name, the wheel, the color wheel thing. There you could maybe adjust a bit too if the colors aren't the way you like it. You could tweak it from there. That could be something. And then Thomas Chisauskas is saying at over 2 hours, are you trying to break Rob Trek's record? No, that's not our intention. The reason we're still here is that we still have 154 people asking questions.
No, Rob Trek should do the 24 hours live streaming. He said he would.
Yeah, I've actually, to be honest, I've thought about it too.
He should do it first.
Yeah, let's see if we can do it. I don't know. And then Stanislav Samolenko is asking, Robin, what software do you use for focus stacking?
No, I mentioned I don't do focus stacking. Everything is single shot. And the reason why I don't use focus stacking I talked about previously was in camera, which is done by Olympus. It gives you a JPEG image. And for all macro shots that I do, it's all single row shot. I don't stack them. And I don't see the need to unless you're shooting something very tiny or you just want to get like the eye of the insect. I rarely do that. I capture the entire bug, the entire body, of the legs and the wings and the head and the fangs and everything. Sometimes I even, a lot of the times I prefer to shoot insects that are doing something like two insects having sex, or one insect eating another insect, a spider eating an ant, or so I need a lot of space. I don't go too near, so I don't really need focus stacking. Full magnification with f8 or f11 is sufficient to get enough depth of field. So I don't do focus stacking.
All right. Then there was a follow-up for the, I think this was the live boost, except he's expecting to see darker image to match the environment. What is his comment? Follow-up maybe for the...
Okay. If your LCD screen is too bright, then maybe you can turn down the LCD brightness. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be an option.
But what my experience is that if your live view boost is off, like if you see that image, let's say that's what you see, right? You click, that's the image that you get. Do you see that? Like, okay, let's say that now you point a camera at something, right? And you see that's the brightness that you see on the screen. You click, that should be exactly what you need. That's the point of turning off the live view boost off. If the environment is too bright or too dark, then it's nothing to do with your live view boost. It has something to do with your camera settings. So what's the shutter speed? What's your aperture? What's your exposure compensation? Did you accidentally change something to make everything too bright or too dark? If your camera doesn't give you what you want, then you have to tell the camera what you want. But if your live view boost is off, if you click, you should immediately see the result that's exactly as displayed on the screen.
Yep.
That's my experience. Yeah.
Yes. And then John Ellis is asking about the face and eye detection versus EM1 Mark II versus EM1 Mark III. Do you have any comment on that?
It's totally different. It's like they upgrade, they totally rework or re-engineer the software, right? And I have no issue with the previous EM1 Mark II's face detect or eye detect, but I don't use them. It's not that I don't trust the camera. It's just that because they don't show it live as you should. I think you need to half press and then that's it. But the one that they introduced in the EM1 Mark III is so much better. It just works. Yeah. You have to try it to understand. You just need to try it. It's so hard. Yeah, it's so hard for us to, we can make videos, we can talk about it. We just have to try it yourself to see how
it is better, and you have the small markings that it actually shows you what face it's tracking, which is a big thing if you have lots of people there, and then you can choose which face it is tracking with pressing a button and using the wheels, and that it works in that sense better. But I have also no issue, and I use the tracking, face tracking for when I do video. For example, right now I have it on, and it sticks my face when I'm moving. You have the small what do you call the square on my face there, so I see that I'm in sharp there. Excuse me. Let's see if we have any more questions. We still have people. People are coming back. Maybe they went somewhere and then they're coming back. It's the
toilet break.
Yeah, 155.
Coffee break,
yeah, it went down. Okay, there is about the question for Tina Breckstrom asked about the flashes that Nelson Charette says that he's got Godox V1, which works really nice. Thanks, Nelson, for the answer. I really don't, to be honest, I'm not really sure which one that is, but let's see, what else do we have? Let's see. And this one...
Batch. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this one was answered earlier, which I probably missed. I'm not sure who it was, but Dan Copeland asking about back button focus, pros and cons. Do you ever use that?
I did a video. Go watch that video. I don't want to repeat it here.
Oh, okay, then go. Well,
it's a sensitive topic, right?
Yeah,
Some people like back button. I'm not going
yeah,
to touch on anyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
I personally don't use it, and the reason is that I have the way that I expose my images, and that I use the flag colors or the blinkies or whatever you call them, and I have the exposure compensation on my back wheel, so I kind of like the adjust the exposure with my thumb, and then I kind of like what do you call focus with my finger. So it's kind of like the same thing in a way. That's why I don't use back focus, because I want to control the exposure.
Yeah.
But go. But there's a video in Robin's channel, so go and see that.
Bacharach asked, "Hey Robin, for shooting macro with flash, do you always diffuse the light with a mini light box thing?" Yes, I always diffuse my light. There is a mini softbox. The brand is Gummy Light. I'll type it out. You don't have to buy any specific brand, but as long as you have something to bounce or something to diffuse the light, a mini tent, mini softbox, mini reflector, mini whatever, you can DIY it. You don't even have to buy it. You can make it from a milk bottle. You can make it from a shoebox. You can make it from anything. You just have to work. You just diffuse the light. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, always diffuse the light so that you don't have like too harsh of a light or too much shadow in your shot.
Yeah. Always try to use diffused light when using flashes, if possible, because harsh straight light from a small flash is really harsh. Yes. It's really harsh. Okay, let's see if there's any. Okay, then we have some question about what the camera looks like. This is for both of us. What is your opinion in Olympus' best looking camera? Mine is Silver Pen F, without a doubt. It's the best looking camera I've ever owned. This is William Matthews. What's your take on this? Because I think this is in a way an important thing. Like Robin said, that he doesn't want any ugly cameras, and that's true. Who wants an ugly camera? But still, it doesn't matter. It's a kind of like a funny question, because it does matter a lot, and then on the other hand, it doesn't matter. But for me, it does matter actually.
I like the EM5 Mark II titanium.
Oh yeah, that's a beauty. That's a beauty. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but I also heard that it's just a paint, right? It's not like real titanium. Oh. It's just a paint to look like a titanium.
Oh, I see.
So I don't know how well it will age.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't have one. I just I just like them.
Yeah, I've actually once used it once. I borrowed one, and it's a beautiful camera. But I would say that the EM5 Mark III with the silver top, I think I like that one. It's
nice. I love that.
Yeah,
I have that.
Yeah, well, I have one over there. It's not mine. It's.
I have one. It's mine.
Oh, you have your own. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that one is better. But yeah, Pen F is right there next to it, I would say. And let's see if we have any other questions. And we still have 147 people here. That's a lot of people still. And that's only a good thing. I really appreciate this. This has been a really nice discussion and answering questions.
It's fun. It's fun being here.
Let's see if we have any questions.
Someone said, twice in a day? Hi, Peter. Vicky, I think it was Vicky.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It just came in, Vicky.
Oh,
twice in a day.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. He probably was with the.
Jimmy
I was with Jimmy's live stream earlier. Thanks, Vicky, for being here. Also here. Nice to have you. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions. And if you see any questions, what we have. I don't see any. Okay, then there is an Andre Lubes asking, any tips for exposure and other settings photographing trees in bright sky background? Well, I would say that it depends on what you want. If you want some silhouettes, then it's exposed for the sky, and then if you want some detail in the trees, then you need to. If it's really bright, then you need to bracket your shots and maybe make a HDR. But the thing is that depends on what you want, I would say. Do you have anything to add for that, Robin? Or
No.
yeah.
Yeah, it really depends what you do. I think
Yeah.
Peter answered it correctly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
always
if you want a silhouette shot, then underexposed, right?
yeah. It's always about what they think that the final image will look. Let's see if we do have any. People are, yeah, this is good. People are talking about the live boost problem. There are a lot of good things about the SOVF. Maybe it's on.
That's possible.
That's also possible. Yeah. Okay, then another question about beautiful cameras. What lens do you think is the most beautiful?
Lens. I really like the design of the 17 1.8 or the 12 f2.
Yeah.
I really think those it's very slim. It's metal. It looks, even if it's black, it looks a little bit shiny. It just attracts attention. It feels so good in hand. Oh my god.
Yeah, it does. I think the most beautiful lens is the 75mm silver version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that one is.
Okay.
Usually
I have that.
yeah, I have one too,
that.
and that's also mine. I bought
Yes.
it. I bought it actually one of my first lenses. I bought that for portraits when I got my EM1. And I would have wanted a black lens because usually black lenses are they don't draw that much attention, but the silver one is a beauty.
Looks nice, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone says that the Olympus E1 was a real beauty of a digital camera.
It is. It is. And
Yeah.
quite a legendary camera as well.
Oh yeah, it is.
First DSLR from Olympus using a Kodak sensor,
Yeah.
featuring full weather sealing.
Yes.
Very silent shutter. The shutter sounds really good.
Yeah. And I think
interesting.
the questions are what I was going to say, that there aren't that many questions anymore. So if you have
Sure.
any questions, then we can still be here for a few minutes. But
No problem.
but if we get some questions, then we will stay for sure. But if you guys have no questions, then I think it's a good time for me to talk about next Wednesday's live stream, and I will to adapt, and Joe is an American Olympus visionary who has done quite a lot of videos and also is running some interesting stock at home photo projects. But that's for the next week, and we'll continue to see. And then there is Joe Ellis about the follow question about the EM1 Mark III and the face detection versus EM1X. Do you have anything to say about that? Is it better than the
EM1,
X?
So the EM1X face and eye autofocus is actually the same with the EM1 Mark II and all the other older Olympus cameras. The only camera that enjoys the new upgraded version, the improved version, is the EM1 Mark III, and it is way, way, way better than what the EM1X or the EM1 Mark II can do. But the EM1X autofocus, specifically just the subject tracking autofocus, has an advantage that currently the EM1 Mark III doesn't have. So the EM1X can have a special subject tracking of the motorsports, airplanes, and trains. So it's a deep learning AI subject tracking, which if you have tried shooting like just cars on the highway or any motorsports or motorbikes or racing cars, the camera will just immediately finds it on the screen, just sticks on it. It's so amazing.
It is.
That you can find on EM1X. You don't have any EM1 Mark III.
That's
Yeah,
true.
but
Yeah,
for
it
the
is.
face and eye autofocus, EMA Mark III is way ahead.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. And this is also interesting. Matthew Freer is asking to both of us, what is your most used Olympus lens and why?
For me, currently, I still have to say, after all these years, it's the 45 1.8. Although I said I've used a lot of the 25 1.8, but if I look at the overall, the whole run, it's the 45 1.8. I use the 45 1.8 both for my personal shoots as well as for my commercial shoots. Personal shoots, I use it a lot for, because in my street photography, more than half of them are street portraits. They are not really street photography. They don't qualify to, but then I don't follow rules. I break a lot of rules. So the 45 for my street portraits, it works because, like I said, I need to blur the background. It's a perfect lens for me to blur the background. And it gives me a distance between me and my subject. I don't have to go too close. Yeah. And people are more comfortable that way. Rather than I stick the lens up their nose, I don't know, some photographers are so rude. They use the ultra wide angles, they just slam it up the nose. Oh my god, of course people hate street photographers that way.
Oh, yeah.
So I always have a distance between myself and my subject. And then when they look into me and I look into them, that's how I get my shots. So I use 45 a lot for my street portrait shots. Yeah. And for my commercial work, for my commercial works, my wedding photography, portrait photography. This is before I have a 75mm lens, right? So things may change in the future. But for the past like 3 or 4 years, the main lens for my portraits, weddings, events, 45. I have to reach. I even use it a lot on stage photography because of the f1.8. I don't have to use very high ISO. So yeah, 45 1.8 is my main use, most used lens.
Yeah. My most used lens is actually the 12 to 40mm f2.8. And to be honest, I was really surprised when I checked out from Lightroom. But that's my most used lens. And the second one I think is the 40 to 150 because I've been shooting some venues where I used a longer lens. But for my leisure photography, it's most likely the 25mm focal length. Nice. I don't know which one I've used most. Maybe the older lens with the 25 1.8 I've used most because it's an older lens, like Robin said. But lately it's been the 1.2 lens.
1.2, yeah.
So those are my most used lens at the moment. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Dan Copeland said that he still has a Sony floppy disk camera.
Oh my goodness.
That is. I remember I've actually used one of those. It wasn't mine. I think one of our kids' school had a digital photography project, and they had that one, and I was, consulting them about the photography style, and I remember they had that, and it actually had a floppy. It wasn't actually, that wasn't a floppy disk. It was the next version, the smaller one, the plastic thing, the different colors. It wasn't the big floppy disk, but can you imagine that you could actually fit quite many images in one of those? The quality now that back then it was like, whoa! I was so, when I saw that, it was like, whoa!
We had like what, 640 to something display, right?
It was
okay.
Yeah, but it was still like 100% on the screen because the screens were like about that back then.
Yeah.
So it was no 4K. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's see. Yeah, this is an interesting question. I don't know if you have ever thought about this, that when using a light meter, it seems that EM1 Mark II ISOs like 6400 and 200 are pretty accurate when using flash. And yes, I mentioned that base ISO is actually 80. How does that add up? Well, the ISO is not a standard anymore in a way that it was in the film era. It's different with every camera, and the 80 ISO 80 is from DxOMark, who actually measures those those values and different cameras and different things. And then like the L64 is an extended ISO, and it's not completely in line with the normal. So and actually the L100 is too. And there is a bit of a difference. It's not the like from going from 200 to 100. It's not actually one stop. It's something around one stop. So it's not really accurate. And what I actually found by accident is that when I made my bracketing video, is funny thing that if you have ISO 200 and then you bracket ISO, you get funny ISOs like 160 and you get 125, which I was like, I was looking at, wait a minute, how is this possible? Then I realized that I had the ISO, which is kind of funny because it's actually an ISO that the camera doesn't have, but you still get it with the ISO bracketing. But yeah, the 80 comes from that, and the not the normal logic comes from because it extended. It's kind of like artificial ISO. That's why it's not completely in line with the old world. And let's see if we have some more questions. Yeah, this is also about the macro. Stanislav is asking again about the F number, because you don't use any stacking or bracketing. How do you get enough depth of field in your photographs?
I think generally it depends on how far you are from your subject and how big or how small the subject is. The larger insects have no issues. We won't have any problems with depth of field, like if you have a grasshopper or generally, let's say, a cricket or the medium-sized spider. It's not much of a problem. Your depth of field will be less of an issue. But if you have like a very tiny ant, a very, very small subject, you have to go really close, you like do like full magnification. That's why even f16 is not going to be enough. Just go as far as you can. Like Peter said, don't be afraid of diffraction. Go f11, f13, sometimes I even go to f16. Yes, the image will be a little bit soft due to diffraction, but who cares? Depth of field is more important anyway. But generally, for what I shoot, if you look at most of my macro photography photographs, either in my recent macro photography video or any of my macro blog articles, I always share my F number. I don't hide it. You can see the F number is either F8, F11. So look at the images and the F number that I use. I don't hide it as well. And I can't tell you a number because every insect is different in size. And my distance from the insect is also different. So I need to change the number. If I take a photograph, I look at the photograph, it's not enough, then I'll increase from F8 to F11. Or sometimes I think that I don't need F11s, I'll stop it down. So sorry, I'll open it up to maybe F7 or F6. So I can't give you a hard answer. But if you want to see what kind of numbers that I use, I have a lot of articles. Feel free to find. Just search Robin Wong insect macro.
Yep. And let's see what we have here. Yeah, this question about your webcam. You have a Logitech webcam, and that's why your edges are soft. And then most likely you have some kind of a artificial bokeh there, right?
Yeah, fake bokeh. Yes.
Fake bokeh. That's why it looks. It's not an Olympus camera that he's using right now on the for this stream.
Nope, it's not.
And this is also an interesting speculation that Michael McLean is asking: do you think we will ever see any firmware updates to the EM1 Mark II?
I think we will. If you look at the history of Olympus cameras, the EM1 and EM5 Mark II, EM5 Mark II, I think they have at least four iterations. It goes up to firmware 4, right? Yeah. So currently the EM1 Mark II is up to firmware 3 point
something. Yeah, 3 point something. Yeah.
So I suspect there'll be a firmware 4. But hey, this is my assumption, my educated guess. This is not official statement from Olympus.
Yeah,
I haven't heard.
Yeah, that's always. Yeah, I haven't heard anything, but I think Robin said the logic is there, so he has a educated guess, like he said. I think that's quite close. Get at least a firmware 4, hopefully. Yeah,
I would love to see that.
Yeah. I'm just looking at my battery. It says 19 minutes on the battery, so we'll still have 19 minutes. So I think we will do what we will do. We will go 12 minutes so that we can pass 3 hours. Right? Is that okay with you, Robin? I think 3 hours is cool.
No issue. Always very happy to be here.
Yeah, that's. I'm really glad.
Just happy with you, Peter. No problem.
Let's see. Yeah, this is also a good question from Jonathan. That is the 30mm macro a decent alternative to the 60mm, in our opinion?
It's just purely macro. If we speak about just depends on what kind of macro you do. If you do insect macro photography, I'll say 60 is definitely better because the 60 macro allows you at least 20 cm or more distance between your lens and the subject, so you don't spook your insect too easily. Yeah. Whereas to achieve the same magnification, you have to go to like 2 or 3 centimeters, like really near the insect with the 30mm macro lens. You have to go so close. So not a lot of insects stay very still for you. They get spooked easily, right? Yeah. But then again, if you're shooting static subjects like jewelry, or if you're doing like shooting like fingernails, right? Like or anything like tiny stuff, figurines, Lego figures, or anything very tiny, things that don't move or don't get scared by your camera lenses. Yeah. Then it doesn't matter if you use 60 or 30, and sometimes 30 will be better because it gives you more magnification.
It does, yeah. It's actually surprising. Yeah. It does, yeah.
So it depends on what you do, and also bear in mind that the question is general, right? 60 and 30, because 60mm is weather seal. The 30mm is not weather seal. So it depends on what you do. If you shoot insects in a rainforest, in Malaysia we have rainforests. The reason why it's called rainforest is because it rains in the forest a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So using the 30mm lens may not be suitable. The 60mm is weather seal. So yeah, so there you go.
That is true. And then there is one question about the Starry Sky AF, which is actually really amazing. But do you think it could be included in EM1 Mark II or EM5 Mark III firmware update with the?
From my understanding, from what Olympus told me, it is not possible because the reason why the Starry autofocus is possible, how they make it happen in the EM1 Mark III, is using a more powerful TruePic 9 processor.
Yes.
It may be possible in EM1X because it has 2 TruePic 8. I don't know whether Olympus will bring it back to EM1X with a firmware upgrade, but I don't think it's easy to make in, say, EM1 Mark II or EM5 Mark III with a TruePic 8 processor, the previous processor. Yeah. So I don't think so.
Yeah. Have you tried yourself this Starry Sky AF?
I have.
Yeah. I also.
We don't get a lot of stars here, but yeah, I've tried it.
Yeah, I also before the launch, I had it for I think 3 days or a week that I had the camera, and it was cloudy all day. Then one day, and one night, I said, now it's going to be clear, and I went not that far, but to the other side of town where I know there's an island where you can go, and it's kind of like straight to the Baltic Sea, and it was pitch dark. You could see some of the lights from Estonia there, but it didn't. But it worked like a charm. I had, luckily, also the f8 1.8 fisheye, and
perfect.
I just in a car I set it up in the lights, and then I walked into the woods and first shot tacked sharp handheld. Well, I used a tripod on that one because I couldn't realize that it could be done handheld too, but it worked like a charm. It's really great.
Nice.
It's really great. And let's see. Yeah, and Cecile Burnett says it's fantastic session. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, Cecile. Thank you very much for being here. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, this is also interesting about the image format. Nicholas Trojanovsky is asking, what do you think, is it technical possible to enable Hake format by firmware update in the latest Olympus cameras, like the EM5 Mark III?
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be actually interesting because there've been some talks about the JPEG is getting old, and all the news, at least the Apple smartphones are using Hague formats, and some others most likely too. And it's I think it's better, and it's H.265 codec, I think what it is, and
I'm not a programmer, so
yeah, so
I don't even know how these firmware updates work.
yeah, me neither. I'm not sure if it's, but that would be actually quite good if they did that, because that would enable the depth map, which is really interesting for concept for different image editing stuff.
That would be good.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if there are any questions. I have 15 minutes on my.
Lao Guy asked, what was your biggest print with the 16 megapixel and 20 megapixel camera? For the 16 megapixel, my largest print, okay, let me just start with my 12 megapixel because I had a 12 megapixel image with the Olympus E5. It's a picture of a boy and a butterfly. I've seen a print that spans 7 feet tall.
Whoa, that's huge.
Yes, it's I think it's more than 7 feet. It's taller than the door. It's in the Olympus office, so they bought my image and they printed it big and they use it for marketing as well. So they printed that big from a 12 megapixel image. For the 16 megapixel from my EM1, it was printed for an Olympus event actually. It's my photo printed for Olympus event. It's a high ISO image and there's a portrait photo. I think it was an A1 size, so it's not too big. It's still really huge for me. It's an A1 size. And for my 20 megapixel micro four thirds image, I did an exhibition for 3 years back, 2017. It was an exhibition for Malaysia's 60th anniversary, and they were looking for people who are 60 years old. They did an interview with these people, and some of them included some really high-profile people, which included Marina Mahathir, which is the daughter of the Prime Minister, our ex-Prime Minister now. And we did an interview of her. I took a portrait of her and some other popular people, and it was printed up to 5 feet tall and put on the stand. And when I stood next to it, it's as tall as me. So yeah, I think those were really large prints, and they all look
you can consider those large. Well, that was good. That gets because I don't have an answer. I don't really print my image that much. All my images, if I take, they go online anyway, so I don't print. I used to have a printer, but not anymore.
Yep.
Not anymore.
I hope it answers this question.
Yeah. Let's see. And then, this is a question from Stanislav Samolenko. How can I submit my ideas for Olympus camera department? I have a lot of them. Well, I would say that try to find a contact information of the local Olympus dealer, not the dealer, but the what do you call, the importer or the Olympus, and your kind
distributor.
Yeah. That would probably do that. They will be more than happy to.
I think Olympus creates a lot of events worldwide now.
Yes.
And from my understanding, I know that currently we are in crisis because of the virus and everything. But once everything blows over, when Olympus has roadshows or touch and try events, the representatives from Olympus will come out in person to speak with the photographers or the Olympus consumers. This way you find these people and talk to them directly and tell them directly what you like and what you don't like about the Olympus cameras. Yeah, because I was one of those people running around and say hi to people, and I get feedback from everywhere. So. Yeah.
Yeah, and now somebody is asking, what is the time in Malaysia right now?
It's 5:58.
5:50.
2 minutes to 6.
Yeah.
2 minutes to 6.
Yeah, and it's actually, when I started this, it was Wednesday, but now it's Thursday.
Oh wow. Nice.
So.
And I think not too far from now, Rob is gonna have a session with Jimmy, or is it with you or Jimmy?
Maybe not me, no. Right? Not me, no.
Probably with Jimmy, right?
Yeah, it could be Jimmy.
See everyone going live. So cool.
Yeah, yeah, this is ouch. So Robin's stream from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Yeah,
Hey, I'm
that
happy
is.
to be here.
I think
for
we
you
should
guys.
give a big applause for that. That's real sport. And
Thanks for
we are
staying,
hitting
guys.
right now 3 hours. So I think we have been quite a long time here, and we still have 130 people watching this live stream, and I want to thank every one of you, and special thanks to Robin. He's been really good, giving really
We're
great
happy to be
answers. Thank you so much, and I want to just quickly see all those videos, of course, but also the link to that video. And if you have not subscribed to Robin's channel yet, I think you should, because he has a lot of good videos about different things about Olympus, and as you heard tonight, he knows his stuff. He really knows those.
And subscribe to Peter's as well. Subscribe to his channel, so you can see more content like this.
Yeah,
and yeah, we'll do our best.
That would also be appreciated too, if there's someone who hasn't yet subscribed. My channel is all about Olympus and photography, and of course these live streams. Now that there is a lockdown, I will be doing these on Wednesdays, and hopefully we'll have guests on these two, and actually have made arrangements for 3 or 4 next ones, so there will be guests. But it's time to say good night, or good morning, or good day, or good afternoon, or wherever you are. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your input and your questions. But I will hit the finish button now and